Chapter 2188. Why should I let you search me? I don't think there is such a rule in the assessment of the 8 Immortals Mountain, right? Ling Xiao said disdainfully. Then you must have a guilty conscience. Xin Chong shouted. Is this how a good disciple of the 8 Immortals Mountain acts? Are you not afraid of bringing shame to the 8 Immortals Mountain? Ling Xiao sneered. Fine, I can search you, but you have to promise me one thing. What is it? Xin Chong asked. If you don't find anything, I'll let Zhou Yun fight with me in the second round. How about it? Ling Xiao glanced at Zhou Yun with a hint of indifference and sarcasm. Okay, I'll promise you. Shen Chong didn't care about Zhou Yun's feelings. Anyway, the second round was arranged by him and Lin Mao. It was very easy to let Ling Xiao fight with Zhou Yun. Search me. Ling Xiao stood there casually, letting Xin Chong and Lin Mao search him. In the end, they couldn't find anything. It would be strange if they could find anything. How could people like Shen Chong and Lin Mao be able to detect the things in the mountain river world? Zhou Yun, where is my brother's storage ring? Humph, in that case, you will fight with Ling Xiao in the next round. Shen Chong lost face in front of Ling Xiao and blamed it on Zhou Yun. Lin Mao didn't object and arranged it like that. The second round was actually very simple. 20 people would fight, and 10 people would be chosen. These 10 people would join the 8 Immortals Mountain. Originally, there were 8 people, but that was only in the previous years. This year, the 8 Immortals Mountain and the Tianfeng Group had expanded their recruitment. Although there were only 2 people available, it was still very beneficial to many people. Soon, the first 9 people had been decided. Except for Chen He, the other 8 people were all warriors from the 3 big families. This was actually very normal. The 9 small-town warriors who had recognized Zhou Yun as their master had been almost exhausted by Mo Feiyu in the Blood Cave stronghold. As for the martial artists from the large families, they basically did not consume any energy. In a situation where their strength was comparable, they could naturally stand out. The final spot would naturally be decided between Ling Xiao and Zhou Yan. I'm going to the toilet. Zhou Yan looked at Ling Xiao and recalled the scene of Ling Xiao killing Xin Shi. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He was not Xin Shi. He did not want to die yet. He had to find a way. Sure, but you only have 5 minutes. If you don't come back, you'll lose without a fight. Shen Chong impatiently glanced at Zhou Yan and said. Zhou Yan left in a hurry. Ling Xiao sat there and waited. About 5 minutes later, Zhou Qiao finally returned. Shen Chong and Lin Mao looked at each other with strange expressions on their faces. Ling Xiao is finished. Lin Mao sighed helplessly. But is it really okay for Zhou Yan to do this? There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to pretend that you didn't see it. Anyway, the one on the stage is Zhou Yan. Xin Chong sneered. Lin Mao, if you help me with this, I will definitely repay you in the future. Although we have some grudges in the past, it's just a small matter. As long as you don't say it out loud, I can give you the thing you've always wanted. Really? Lin Mao asked. Of course. Anyway, this assessment is only to eliminate Ling Xiao. Everything else is real. The higher-ups won't make trouble for us. Xin Chong nodded. Well, in that case, I'll believe you. You too start. Lin Mao stood up and looked at Ling Xiao and Zhou Yan. Zhou Yan stepped onto the arena and looked at Ling Xiao coldly as he said, Brat, I originally didn't want to be enemies with you, but you should have never, ever found Zhou Yan. Oh no, finding trouble with me. You're not Zhou Yan. Ling Xiao said coldly. His words exposed the secret that Xin Chong and Lin Mao were trying to hide. Haha, who would believe you? I'm Zhou Yan. Zhou Yan smiled. Well, since you want to die for Zhou Yan, I, Ling Xiao, will fulfill your wish. I'll kill you. Let's see who dares to protect that guy. Ling Xiao had already seen that this so-called Zhou Yan was disguised with a special human skin mask. Although his appearance and figure were exactly the same as Zhou Yan, his cultivation was much higher. Half-step yin-yang realm, level 10 strength. This was a warrior at the same level as Chunhee. Fortunately, he had broken through when he was in Blood Cave's stronghold. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to meet this guy today. You should know that I'm not at the same level as him. You'd better admit defeat as soon as possible. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude when you die. Zhou Yan said coldly. You don't have to be polite, Ling Xiao said indifferently. While speaking, Ling Xiao's aura completely broke out, instantly piercing the silence in the arena. What? How did this guy break through again? Is this level 6 strength? Shin Chong gritted his teeth in hatred. He hated Ling Xiao and did not want to see Ling Xiao break through. However, Ling Xiao's talent was beyond his expectations. Before this, Ling Xiao was only at level 10, Grotto Heaven Realm. How did he reach level 6 strength in an instant? This was unbelievable. It's a pity that such a genius offended the Shun family and the Zhou family. Even I can't help him. Lin Mao sighed helplessly. He had no enmity with Ling Xiao, so he naturally felt that it was a pity. Such a genius could not join the 8 Immortal Mountain and was about to be killed. No matter what, this was a loss to the 8 Immortal Mountain. However, he was unable to stop the battle. It was unwise to offend both the Shun family and the Zhou family for Ling Xiao. Half-step Yinyang Realm, level 6 strength? No wonder you're so arrogant. No wonder he's so afraid of you. Interesting. However, do you really think you can defeat me with such a cultivation? Zhou Yan was also shocked, but he quickly calmed down. His cultivation was still much stronger than Ling Xiao's, so he did not believe that he would be defeated. My Flying Flower Soul Extinguishing Finger is a low-level Jade grade martial skill. I've already cultivated it to the great perfection stage. I'll use it to test your strength. However, once I use it, you won't be far from death. As he spoke, Zhou Yan raised his right hand and extended his index finger. Then, a huge stamen appeared behind him. It looked like a black rose. When Zhou Yan condensed his elemental energy, the energy suddenly exploded. The black rose actually scattered, and all the petals gathered in front of the finger. They were like sharp blades pointing towards the sky. A low-level Jade grade martial skill. This power is much stronger than Shin Shi's Eagle Storm. It's not bad, but it's not useful to me. Ling Xiao chuckled. He raised his sword and pointed it at Zhou Yan. Starlight flashed. Falling Star Sword Art, Starlight Flash. Chapter 2189. Ling Xiao's speed was as fast as lightning, like a ghost. This made Shin Chong and Lin Mao frown slightly. No wonder Ling Xiao could kill Shin Shi. With such terrifying speed, it would be strange if Shin Shi didn't die. Your speed is not bad, but the power of your sword is too weak. Zhou Yan still showed some disdain. With a flick of his finger, the petals flew towards Ling Xiao. You're right, but my Falling Star Sword Art doesn't only have one sword. Second Falling Star Sword. Bang! The sword light collided with the petals. The sword shadow disappeared and the petals fell. Third Falling Star Sword. Ling Xiao's sword was still moving forward bravely. However, Zhou Yan's Flying Flower Soul Extinguishing Finger was indeed powerful. With a perfection stage martial skill, coupled with his powerful cultivation, this move easily blocked Ling Xiao's third sword. Although a few more petals fell, Ling Xiao could no longer move forward. Fourth Falling Star Sword. Fifth Falling Star Sword. Sixth Falling Star Sword. Seventh Falling Star Sword. Eighth Falling Star Sword. When the eighth sword stabbed out, Zhou Yan's expression changed drastically, because his countless black petals were basically completely destroyed by the sword light. Last sword, ninth Falling Star Sword. Boom! Under this sword attack, Zhou Yan was forced back several steps and almost fell off the stage. However, his cultivation was strong. With his powerful essence force, he finally blocked Ling Xiao's last sword. However, Blood flowed out from both his arms. Seeing this scene, Lin Mao stood up in shock. This Ling Xiao is really a genius. No wonder the deacon, personally, gave him an invitation. However, although the 9th Falling Star Sword is powerful, it is at most a low-tier jade martial skill. At the end of the day, his cultivation is inferior to his opponent. If his martial skill is inferior to his opponent, it will be difficult for him to escape death. With his status, how can a martial artist from a remote town possess a mid-tier jade martial skill? Sighing, Lin Mao sat down again. In the field, Zhou Yan looked at Ling Xiao with anger and shock. Ling Xiao lightly shook off the bloodstains on his sword and said indifferently, "I'll give you one last chance. Admit your true identity and scram. Otherwise, it won't be just bloodshed. People will die." Below the stage, Qin He looked at Ling Xiao excitedly. Originally, he had only agreed to work for Ling Xiao as a temporary measure. He thought that he was still stronger than Ling Xiao. At the very least, his cultivation was much stronger than Ling Xiao's. But after seeing this scene, he began to doubt his judgment. This Ling Xiao, with his strength at the 6th level, was actually able to put Zhou Yan, who was at the 10th level of strength, in such a tight spot. Moreover, he knew of the Falling Star Sword art. It was simply a common low-tier gold grade martial skill. Perhaps he had unknowingly acknowledged an incredible boss. However, he would have to wait and see what the outcome would be. It was impossible for Zhou Yan to give up so easily. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to put down his face. "Ah!" Zhou Yan roared loudly, then stared fixedly at Ling Xiao. His expression also became extremely ferocious. One had to admit that this human skin mask was really exquisitely made. Even the expression was remarkably lifelike. "Ling Xiao, you're dead. Originally, I only wanted to kill you for him because I received benefits from him. But now you made a fool of me. I want you to die. Do you think you'll win like this? Too naive." Ling Xiao looked at Zhou Yan indifferently and shook his head lightly. "Looks like you're really courting death. Although I didn't have any enmity with you before, since you're courting death like this, you can't blame me." Junior apprentice brother Shin. This Ling Xiao looks very calm. Does that Zhou Yan really have a way to kill him? Lin Mao looked at Xin Chong and asked indifferently. Xin Chong smiled coldly and said, "Don't worry. I know this person. The Flying Flower Soul Extinguishing Finger is just a move he uses to toy with his opponent. If he really explodes with his full strength, even I won't dare to underestimate him. You don't know, right? He actually knows a mid-tier jade grade martial skill and has already cultivated it to the proficient level. Mid-tier jade grade martial skills are very rare, even in our 8 Immortal Mountain. Only Yin-Yang realm martial artists are qualified to possess them." "What's the name of his martial skill?" Lin Mao asked. "Black Death Wildflower," Shen Chong said indifferently. "What? It's actually that evil martial skill. That Black Death Wildflower can only be used with a flower-type martial spirit. Once used, its power is comparable to a high-tier jade grade martial skill." Lin Mao said in shock. "It looks like that Ling Xiao is really dead. He can only blame himself for offending people he shouldn't have. Yes, I once fought with this person and was almost injured by this move. Although I won, I was a little embarrassed. With this Ling Xiao's cultivation, he has no chance at all." Shin Chong nodded and said, "Let's not talk about the discussions below. On the stage," Zhou Yan angrily looked at Ling Xiao and said, "You should really admit defeat. Losing to the Flying Flower Soul Extinguishing Finger is a kind of luck for you. Once I use the next move, even I don't know how terrifying it will be. At that time, although I will consume a lot of energy, you won't be far from death." Ling Xiao still looked at Zhou Yan indifferently, listening to his opponent's tone. The next attack will be even stronger than the Flying Flower Soul Extinguishing Finger. It seemed that he would have to take out the meteor sword art that he had just cultivated and use it. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a heavy sword. Ling Xiao has a way to use his elemental energy and earth element to condense a sword that is better than any heavy sword. He looked at his opponent indifferently. The iron sword in his hand began to twine with an earthy yellow light. The earth element in the air and the earth constantly condensed on the iron sword and became more compact. You have a stronger move, so do I. So I advise you not to court death. If you really die, regret will be useless. Ling Xiao would never reveal all his cards. Therefore, when facing any enemy, he would always have a backup plan. To be honest, even if the meteor sword art was ineffective, he still had the seal of eternity. If it really doesn't work, he can transform into a demi-dragon. If that doesn't work, he can transform into a demonic dragon. There is always a way to kill the opponent. Just at this moment, the aura of Zhou Yan suddenly turned black with despair. Under his feet, a black flower began to bloom. The aura of death spread in the void. It gave people a kind of aura of the underworld. Oh, this move is indeed much stronger than the previous one. Ling Xiao looked at Zhou Yan's aura that was constantly rising, but his face still remained indifferent. This kind of increase was not beyond his expectations. Or rather, it was actually quite disappointing. If it was only like this, he didn't need to use the seal of eternity. Just the meteor sword art would be enough to win. Chapter 2190. The terrifying aura of the Black Death wildflower had yet to be released, but the surrounding people could already feel the threat of death. They knew very well how powerful the attack would be if it was released. Ling Xiao, can you block it? Qinhe looked at Ling Xiao and was worried for Ling Xiao. He admitted that he was definitely not a match for this Zhou Yan at the same cultivation level, because this move was too terrifying. When martial artists with similar cultivation levels were competing, it would naturally depend on whose martial techniques were stronger and who would have the advantage. Ling Xiao is dead meat. Xin Chong grabbed the corner of his clothes in agitation. He did not believe that Ling Xiao could block this move. Whoosh! At this moment, a brilliant sword light bloomed on the stage. It directly tore through the void, shrouded in darkness. It was as if a ray of light had descended to the mortal world, making the examinees feel much better. That sword! Everyone saw the sword in Ling Xiao's hand. Is that really a sword? Lin Mao frowned. The metal sword was covered by the earth element. It was flat and longer, but it did not have a sharp edge. Rather than calling it a sword, it was better to call it a stick. However, Ling Xiao's terrifying sword aura was indeed released from this sword. The yellow sword aura increased in number, piercing through the void and gradually tearing apart the dark barrier. Ling Xiao's body seemed to be surrounded by countless sword auras. The surrounding people could not feel the sharpness of these sword auras, but they had another strange feeling. That was pressure. It was as if they could not breathe under the pressure. What kind of swordsmanship is this? This kid is really surprising. Lin Mao had to release his yin-yang yuan force to stand up. At this moment, he felt that his body was incomparably heavy. He was more and more shocked by Ling Xiao. If he was already like this, the examinees were even more miserable. All of them were squatting or sitting on the ground, as if they were being pressed down by something. Ling Xiao, who the hell are you? Chen, he excitedly shouted in his heart. He had thought that this time Ling Xiao was completely finished. It was impossible for him to block Zhou Yan's crazy attack. However, he realized that he was wrong. No matter how strong Zhou Yan was, Ling Xiao seemed to be able to become stronger than him. This person had no upper limit. Rumble. The arena suddenly cracked open, crushed by the terrifying pressure and not cut open. Everyone looked at this scene in shock, completely unable to understand what was going on. Zhou Yan frowned. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to have such a powerful swordsmanship. However, it was impossible for him to admit defeat. At this moment, his move had already been completely condensed. A terrifying black death flower bloomed on the arena. The power released was not inferior to Ling Xiao's sword chi at all. However, his cultivation level was higher, so he believed that Ling Xiao would definitely lose. Kill. Black Death Flower. Send this ignorant boy to his death. With a violent roar, Zhou Yan finally released all his power. A huge black death flower bloomed. The aura of death in the air also became stronger. Ling Xiao still looked at all this indifferently. The huge stone sword in his hand smashed directly at Zhou Yan. The moment he jumped up, the arena was completely shattered. The first move of the meteor sword technique, fall, rumble. A terrifying sound of vibration came from the sky, as if a meteor was falling from the sky. That huge stone sword gave off an extremely terrifying pressure, as if it wanted to directly kill Zhou Yan. The beautiful yet terrifying black death wildflowers were completely shattered under this terrifying pressure. It scattered on the arena as if it was sending Zhou Yan to his death. Rumble. Zhou Yan looked at the sky in horror. In his eyes, the huge stone sword was like a meteor coming at him and then smashing heavily on his body. A fear of death that he had never felt before was released from Zhou Yan's body. He was frightened and wanted to call for help. However, he found that he couldn't even make a sound. I actually looked down on this person so much. I'm really courting death. At the last moment before his death, Zhou Yan regretted his actions. He regretted accepting this task. He thought that defeating Ling Xiao would be easy, but he definitely didn't expect that he would die like this. His body was torn apart inch by inch and then wrapped in smoke and dust. It merged into the ground, and even his corpse couldn't be found. He put away the iron sword. Ling Xiao stood there coldly, looking indifferently at the stage that had already been turned into a complete mess. Zhou Yan, listen to me. No matter who you find to die for you, I will kill him. I want to see who dares to continue working for you. And you, if you want to join the 8 Immortals Mountain, wait for your next life. As long as I, Ling Xiao, am here, you can forget about fulfilling your wish. He knew that Zhou Yan was here and was watching the battle between him and the fake Zhou Yan. He had already written this person on his death list. Killing Zhou Yan was only a matter of time, but he would definitely do it. He absolutely couldn't allow this person to continue living. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone seemed to wake up from the shock. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao in horror, not daring to believe that all of this was real, especially the 9 people who had already become disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain. They were secretly glad that their opponent wasn't Ling Xiao. Xin Chong gritted his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. Even he didn't expect Ling Xiao to be so powerful. It seemed that he could only think of a way to deal with Ling Xiao after he joined the 8 Immortals Mountain, and it had to be fast. Otherwise, with this guy's cultivation speed, he would soon surpass him. At this moment, he actually felt a strong sense of fear. No, how can I, Xin Chong, be afraid of a half-step Yin-Yang Realm warrior? This is too funny. Xin Chong shook his head violently and muttered to himself. Lin Mao was also shocked. Ling Xiao's strength was far beyond his expectations. He now regretted making a deal with Xin Chong and offending Ling Xiao. It wasn't a smart thing to do. Ha ha ha, found you. I've finally found you. Suddenly, a maniacal laughter came from afar. In the blink of an eye, the voice was nearby. Then, a young man in white appeared in front of everyone. Mo Feiyu. Seeing this person, fear brewed in everyone's hearts. Xin Chong and Lin Mao were also shocked. Why did Mo Feiyu suddenly appear here? Who did he find? Before they could understand what was going on, Mo Feiyu had already charged toward Ling Xiao. Kid, do you think I won't dare to kill you after you join the 8 Immortals Mountain? Killing you is like killing a dog. No one will do anything to me. Do you want to know why? Because I'm a genius. Mo Feiyu sneered. The reason he chased after Ling Xiao was not because Ling Xiao had killed Xin Chong, nor was it because Ling Xiao had injured Zhou Yan. Chapter 2191. Mo Feiyu's failure to kill Ling Xiao was a humiliation to him. He didn't want his life to be stained. Seeing Mo Feiyu's killing intent toward Ling Xiao, Shin Chong suddenly became excited. Everyone in the 8 Immortal Mountain knew Mo Feiyu's temper. Even the sect leader couldn't stop him from doing what he wanted. No one would blame Mo Feiyu for killing someone who had just passed the assessment and wasn't even a disciple of the 8 Immortals. That was the difference. Mo Feiyu dared to do what Shin Chong didn't dare to do. Lin Mao frowned and said, "Senior brother Mo, I'm afraid this is inappropriate. This kid is quite talented and may become a mainstay of the 8 Immortal Mountain in the future. It's a pity to kill him now." "Shut up!" Slap. Mo Feiyu shouted coldly and slapped Lin Mao. Lin Mao fell to the ground and 2 of his teeth were knocked out. He was bleeding profusely. "Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around? If you talk nonsense again, I'll kill you too." Mo Feiyu looked at Lin Mao and said fiercely, "Although killing you may cause some trouble, I'll just be facing the wall for a few days. Even the Lin family won't dare to do anything to me." Lin Mao covered his mouth and didn't say anything. He knew that Mo Feiyu was right. Even the Lin family wouldn't dare to offend Mo Feiyu for him. Mo Feiyu was a true genius of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Even if he offended him, he could only endure it. This guy is really domineering. Ling Xiao looked at Mo Feiyu and frowned. Mo Feiyu was obviously very favored by the 8 Immortal Mountain since he dared to hit Lin Mao. If he didn't escape today, he would be in trouble. Damn it, he really didn't want to. Mo Feiyu was too strong. He really couldn't fight him head-on. He had to find a chance to escape. He had already used the Gemini martial soul once. He probably couldn't use it again this time. Mo Feiyu wouldn't be deceived by him again. He could only try. Fortunately, he had the mystic world body. He wouldn't be killed in one move. "Kid, what else do you have to say?" Mo Feiyu looked at Ling Xiao and sneered. "What do I have to say? Originally, I thought that the 8 Immortals Mountain was a holy land for cultivation. But now, it seems that it's nothing more than that. Even a madman can be treated like a treasure." Ling's words. 8 Immortal Mountain is 8 Immortal Mountain. Mo Feiyu sneered. "In prison? The truth is the truth. You, too. To me. Twos. If I, Ling, be a man. If I. You." Mo Feiyu waved the goose feather fan in his hand lightly, and a terrifying force rushed into the sky. Ling Xiao circulated the power of the Royal Heaven Earth Queen in his body, forming a thick layer of defense on the surface of his body. T-Tess. What was the point of keeping his identity if he died? He would use all his abilities. He didn't believe that he couldn't survive Mo Feiyu's attack. The terrifying impact hit Ling Xiao and sent him flying hundreds of meters away. Ling Xiao spat out blood in the air. He felt like his ribs were about to break. Although the mystic world body was strong, his cultivation was too low. His defense was limited. Fortunately, the attack didn't kill him. Mo Feiyu obviously looked down on him. He couldn't have attacked him with his full strength. He only used about 10 to 20% of his strength. That was one of the reasons why he didn't die. The moment he landed on the ground, a shadow from Ling Xiao's body burrowed into the ground and disappeared. He couldn't use his Gemini martial souls in the open, but now that he was so far away, he used it the moment he landed. Even Mo Feiyu wouldn't be able to see it. Without any worries, Ling Xiao struggled to stand up. He looked coldly at Mo Feiyu, who was attacking him again. "Ha ha ha, genius? Is this the top genius of the 8 Immortal Mountain? In my opinion, you're just trash. You can't even kill me, a half-step Yin-Yang realm martial artist. I don't know why the 8 Immortal Mountain dotes on you so much. Are the higher-ups of the 8 Immortal Mountain blind? Die." Mo Feiyu was even more furious. He punched Ling Xiao heavily, causing Ling Xiao's body to crack. This time, he used 40% of his strength. It was the first time he used 40% of his strength to deal with a half-step yin-yang realm martial artist. However, Ling Xiao's cracked body healed again. He looked at Mo Feiyu and sneered. Continue. Let's see if you can kill me today. Kill. Bang, 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 bang. Mo Feiyu crazily hit Ling Xiao's body, causing blood and flesh to splatter everywhere. However, Ling Xiao still had a cold and disdainful smile on his face. Senior brother Mo, that's fake. The onlooker sees the game better than the player. This saying was true. Mo Feiyu was so angry that he did not realize that the so-called Ling Xiao he was attacking was just a substitute made of mud. The real Ling Xiao had long fled to God knows where. However, Shin Chong, who was watching from the side, noticed that something was wrong and helped Mo Feiyu in time. Damned brat, he escaped again. Mo Feiyu felt that today was probably the most humiliating day he had ever been. He tried to kill Ling Xiao twice in a row, but he let him escape each time. He was pissed. Who told you that I escaped? Why would I, Ling Xiao, escape? Not far away, a figure appeared again. He looked at Mo Feiyu coldly and said mockingly, I'd like to see if there's anyone in 8 Immortal Mountain who can uphold justice. Whether you, Mo Feiyu, provoked me or not, that's none of my business. Be *starred. Mo Feiyu swung his goose feather fan and hit that figure. Mud statue again. Mo Feiyu was going crazy. He had met many opponents, but this was the first time he met someone as cunning as Ling Xiao. This brat's cultivation was very low. He could kill him with one punch. However, the problem was that this punch could not hit the real Ling Xiao. Are you blind? Where are you hitting? Another figure appeared and mocked Mo Feiyu coldly. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! You really deserve to die. Mo Feiyu was really angry at this time. He unleashed all of his power. The entire pass shook as if it could collapse at any time. Enough, Mo Feiyu. Are you done? Right at this moment, a figure descended from the sky, and it was as light as a swan. She was wearing a white veil and looked coldly at Mo Feiyu, who was going crazy. Lin Ruoxian. Mo Feiyu looked at the person and could not help but frown. He was not the only prodigy in 8 Immortal Mountain. Lin Ruoxian was also one of them. Moreover, Lin Ruoxian's cultivation was not inferior to his at all. You want to meddle in my business again? Mo Feiyu asked coldly. This was not the first time Lin Ruoxian stopped him from going crazy. Therefore, he was still a little unhappy with Lin Ruoxian. Chapter 2192. You're wrong. Recruiting disciples is a big deal for the 8 Immortals Mountain, and I've been given the mission of recruiting disciples by the sect. You ruined the first test, and I'm too lazy to care about it. But this time, you can't continue to be crazy. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. Lin Ruoxian looked at Mo Feiyu without any fear. It seemed that the two of them were probably on par with each other in the 8 Immortals Mountain. Ha 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 ha. Mo Feiyu suddenly laughed. Lin Ruoxian, I'll give you face this time. You can protect him for a while, but can you protect him forever? After saying that, he flew away and disappeared into the vast void in an instant. It seemed that although Ling Xiao was temporarily freed because of Lin Ruoxian's intervention today, Mo Feiyu would not let him go. But would Ling Xiao be afraid? His real body soon appeared. He cupped his hands at Lin Ruoxian and said, This is the second time Deacon has saved me. I can't thank you enough. If you need my help in the future, as long as I can do it, I'll do my best. I helped you because I saw your potential. If you really want to repay me, show me your potential. Lin Ruoxian looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. His eyes were so cold, without the slightest sense of intimacy. Perhaps this person was like this to everyone. She only looked at talent and did not care about feelings. Shin Chong, do you know your crime? Suddenly, Lin Ruoxian looked at Shin Chong and asked coldly, I don't know. Shin Chong hurriedly knelt on one knee, but he shook his head. You don't know. Very well. You'll know when you enter the ghost prison, Lin Ruoxian said coldly. Hearing the words ghost prison, Xinqiang's face suddenly changed. He hurriedly knelt down and said, I know my mistake. I know my mistake. I shouldn't have involved my personal grudges in the assessment of 8 Immortals Mountain. Xinqiang, I'm telling you, you better behave yourself when you're working for me, Lin Ruoxian. I'll let you off this time. I won't let you go to the ghost prison, but you'll have to work in the mines of the Scarlet Immortal Mountain for a few days. Come back in 7 days. Do you admit defeat? Lin Ruoxian asked coldly. This subordinate obeys. Cold sweat broke out on Xinqiang's forehead. Although he had to work in the mine with the slaves and endure the filth and hunger, it was still 1,000 times, no, 10,000 times better than going to the ghost prison. The ghost prison was the most terrifying place in the 8 Immortals Mountain. Only those who had committed grave mistakes would be locked in there to suffer. Go. After 7 days, I'll personally check on your work. If your performance is good, I can restore you to your original position. Otherwise, you can no longer stay in the 8 Immortals Mountain. Lin Ruoxian waved his hand and said impatiently. Before leaving, Xinqiang fiercely glared at Ling Xiao. His hysterical anger could be clearly seen from his eyes. Obviously, he felt that the reason why he was like this was all thanks to Ling Xiao. He didn't feel that there was anything wrong with his practice of favoritism. After Xinqiang left, Lin Ruoxian looked at Lin Mao and said, You don't need to receive your monthly allowance. You actually dared to make a deal with Xinqiang. Humph. Lin Mao knows his mistake. All right, take them to where they should go. Lin Ruoxian waved his hand lightly and then flew away. Ling Xiao, I'll stay at your place tonight. I'll go find you myself. Just as Ling Xiao was about to leave with Lin Mao, a voice suddenly appeared in his mind. It was Lin Ruoxian's voice. She's going to find me? Why? Ling Xiao didn't think that he was very charming to be able to make a female deacon have thoughts about him. Now that he thought about it, there were only 2 possibilities. One was that this woman had seen through his old identity, which was the most dangerous. The other was, of course, simpler. That was the courage and talent he showed that this woman had taken a fancy to him and wanted to train him well. The latter was more likely. In a sect, it was normal for people to form cliques. Every middle and upper management hoped to rope in new disciples, especially those who were talented and capable. If it was this possibility, Ling Xiao wouldn't reject it. He had offended Mo Feiyu, who was a madman. It was unlikely that he would be able to defeat him in a short period of time. Then there was only one way, which was to form an alliance with Lin Ruoxian. In this way, he could avoid being killed by that madman Mo Feiyu. While he was thinking, Lin Mao had already said, All right, don't think about unnecessary things. The 10 of you will become official disciples of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Well, to be exact, you're just servant disciples. Servant disciples won't enter the sect. Only after you've cultivated for a period of time, the 8 mountain masters of the 8 immortals will come to pick disciples. At that time, you can choose from both sides. So during this period of time, you can cultivate well and learn about the 8 mountains of the 8 immortals. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, black. All right, let's cut to the chase. I'll bring you to the 8 Immortals Mountain now. Then Lin Mao took out a formation refining stone from his storage ring and used it casually. A teleportation array appeared in front of everyone. Let's go in. Everyone nodded, feeling a little excited. After going through the life and death assessment, they could finally become disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain. Although they were just servant disciples, which was the lowest rank among the disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain. But this was already quite good. Ling Xiao, wait a moment. Lin Mao called out to Ling Xiao. Seeing that everyone else had stepped into the teleportation array, he said, I don't want the previous incident to become an obstacle to our communication. You're a smart person, So you don't want to have another enemy, right? Senior brother Lin, you're joking. Even if it's Shin Chong and Shin Shi, I've never thought of becoming enemies with them. It's just that Shin Shi wanted to kill me, so I could only resist. You didn't do anything to me. You even took a slap from Mo Feiyu for me. I can still distinguish between good and bad. Of course. Ling Xiao knew that it was much better to have one more friend than one more enemy. He had never thought of offending everyone. In fact, if he could avoid offending people, he really didn't want to. With your words, I'm relieved. City, Lord Lin Yuan told me before to pay more attention to you. At that time, I didn't think much of it, but after what happened today, I found that you're really a talent. Lin Mao said with a smile, as if his mood suddenly became a lot more relaxed. Ling Xiao also secretly smiled. Lin Yuan was an important chess piece he left in the Eight Immortals County. He was still useful. Thank you for your praise, Senior Brother Lin. Can we go now? Yes, let's go in. Lin Mao nodded and stepped into the teleportation array with Ling Xiao. The moment he could see things with his eyes, Ling Xiao almost mistakenly thought that he had come to a fairyland. Chapter 2193. The Eight Immortals Mountain Range was truly a paradise. Not only was the environment very beautiful, but the spirit chi was also abundant. Although many people lived here, they did not disturb each other. There were beautiful buildings and caves in the dense forest and on the cliffs. Every building blended in with the natural environment. This was a place where martial artists should stay. The Eight Immortal City had too many people and was too noisy. It was really not as good as here. Don't be too surprised. This is only a corner of the Eight Immortals Mountain. The Eight Immortals Mountain is divided into two parts, the Upper Eight Immortals Mountain and the Lower Eight Immortals Mountain. The place you are going to now is the Chores Yard. This is an institution under the Lower Eight Immortals Mountain. All of them are Chores disciples. While walking forward, Lin Mao explained, in the Eight Immortals Mountain, even the weakest Chores disciples are around the 10th Grotto Heaven realm. He said this to let Ling Xiao know that he should not show off too much here because there were many people stronger than Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao still looked indifferent. The reason was very simple. How could a martial artist who had cultivated to the rebirth realm take a yin-yang realm martial artist seriously? Even that Mo Feiyu, Ling Xiao had never really been afraid of him. He had only regarded that guy as a stumbling block on his path to recovery. Just kill him. If they really wanted to make him afraid, they had to be at least a rebirth realm martial artist. However, according to Ling Xiao's judgment, the Eight Immortals Mountain was definitely not that powerful. Of course, at the current stage, the Eight Immortals Mountain was definitely the best place to train him. Coming here, his cultivation would definitely improve faster, and his combat strength would also improve greatly. The distance between him and the rebirth realm would also quickly shorten. Oh, Lin Mao, another Chores disciple has come. Do you want us to teach these rookies a lesson? On the way, they met martial artists with cultivation similar to Lin Mao. When they saw Ling Xiao and the other new Chores disciples who had joined the Eight Immortals Mountain, they were all excited, as if they had found a fun toy. Remember, no matter what conditions anyone gives you, it's best not to follow them. Otherwise, it'll be too late for regrets. Lin Mao reminded, the sect is a small world. Here, there are all kinds of people. If you can't survive in such a small world, then don't think about going out in the future. Yes. Although all the odd job disciples had agreed very well, it was unknown whether they would listen to him or not. After all, the following temptation might be more useful than Lin Mao's words. As they spoke, they arrived at the Chores Yard. The scale of the odd job yard was much larger than the Ling clan's main courtyard. The number of odd job disciples that could be accommodated within was estimated to be in the tens of thousands. Seeing these people, Ling Xiao understood that the Eight Immortals Mountain was not only recruiting disciples from the Eight Immortals County, they were also recruiting disciples from other places. Otherwise, it would be impossible for there to be so many servant disciples. The residents of the odd job disciples were all shared beds, and there were dozens of people living in a dormitory. Naturally, the environment couldn't be too good. However, once one was promoted from an odd job disciple to a disciple of the 8 lower immortals, the environment would be much better. After arranging the accommodation, Lin Mao did not leave immediately. Instead, he reminded everyone, your current status is only an odd job disciple, which is the lowest status in the entire 8 Immortals Mountain. So, no matter who it is, don't provoke them easily. Of course, you can wait until a month later to participate in the selection of the 8 Immortals Mountain and successfully become a disciple of the 8 lower immortals. Then, you'll be considered to have a real sect record, but even then, don't provoke the disciples of the 8 immortals. The disciples of the 8 Upper Immortals Mountain are the real mainstays of the 8 Immortals Mountain. Even if they kill the disciples of the 8 Lower Immortals, they will be punished lightly, and sometimes they won't even be held accountable. So, you must remember not to provoke them easily. This is the key to your survival. Speaking of this, he glanced at Ling Xiao and sighed helplessly. Mo Feiyu is also a first-class disciple among the 8 Upper Immortals. If you offend him, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Thank you for your concern, Senior Brother Lin. I know what to do, but I don't know if I can participate in the assessment of the 8 immortals now. Ling Xiao didn't want to be a handyman disciple. It was because being a handyman disciple was really too boring. They had to do a lot of chores, which had a great impact on their cultivation. Of course you can. If you have the ability, you don't even have to be a disciple. Instead, you can directly become a deacon, an elder, a veteran, or even a master. This is the 8 Immortals Mountain. Anything is possible. Lin Mao smiled and said, but that's true. The 8 Immortals Mountain has been established for hundreds of years, and there are only 3 people who can be promoted from a disciple to a deacon in just 2 or 3 years. One of them is Lin Ruoxian, Deacon Lin. She's actually only a few years older than you, but because she's talented enough, she became a deacon very early. Moreover, she's a disciple of the 8 Upper Immortals. So it's still possible. Ling Xiao said lightly. Hearing this, Lin Mao couldn't help but be stunned. He originally wanted to use this opportunity to attack Ling Xiao so that Ling Xiao could cultivate step by step. After all, there were only 1 or 2 true geniuses. Mo Feiyu and Lin Ruoxian were already frightening enough. But he didn't know that in Ling Xiao's eyes, neither Lin Ruoxian nor Mo Feiyu could be considered absolute geniuses. These 2 might even be inferior to people like Tian Hai Tyranny, Feng Fei, Long Chen, and Cold Plum. After getting used to seeing geniuses, he naturally had high expectations. If Ling Xiao could trample true geniuses beneath his feet, why would he fear a mere deacon? Besides Ling Xiao, who else wants to become a disciple of the 8 lower immortals? Lin Mao looked at the others and said, I need to remind you that the minimum requirement to become a disciple of the 8 lower immortals is to be at half-step yin-yang realm with a 10th level of strength. Among all of you, only Chen He and Lin Yang have met this requirement. Of course, Ling Xiao is an exception. Even if his cultivation doesn't meet this requirement, his battle prowess surpasses it, so he has a chance. I want to try, Chen He said. Since he agreed to follow Ling Xiao, he didn't want to be left too far behind by Ling Xiao. Moreover, it was really depressing to be a servant disciple. I want to try too. Lin Yang nodded as well. As the last remaining disciple of the 3 great clans who passed the test, how could he tolerate Ling Xiao riding on his head? Thus, he wanted to try what Ling Xiao wanted to do. Lin Mao smiled and said, Very good, you all have guts. But there are some things I need to tell you first. Although servant disciples have to work, there's no danger to their lives. But once you become a disciple of the 8 lower immortals and have your clan records and identity plates, you must complete some dangerous missions. Chapter 2194. Lin Mao continued. Yes, the disciples' missions are divided into 4 levels, A, B, C, and D. Your disciples' identities are also divided into 4 levels, A, B, C, and D. Every month, you must complete at least one mission of the corresponding level. If you complete it, you will be rewarded. If you fail, your contribution points will be deducted. When your contribution points become negative, you will be sent back to the chores yard. Listening to Lin Mao's words, Ling Xiao suddenly thought of his life in the Yuehua school. What he did at that time was very similar to what he was doing now. The only difference was that he was a deacon at the Transcendent Realm. Now he was at the Grotto Heaven Realm and the Yin-Yang Realm. The enemies he would face would be stronger, and the various things he would face would be more troublesome. After Lin Mao finished speaking, he saw that Ling Xiao, Chen He, and Lin Yang had no intention of going back on their words, so he got up and said, "Let's go. The three of you follow me." He knew that young people were full of drive and pride. It would not be easy for them to back down. He would let these three people give it a try and see how difficult it would be to become a disciple of the Eight Immortals. He led the three of them deeper into the Eight Immortals mountain range and came to another courtyard. This is the place where the Chores disciples are promoted to the Eight Immortals. Originally, after a month, you could compete with other Chores disciples. If you are chosen by the Mountain Master of the Eight Immortals, you can join. But now is a special situation. There will be no such competition. The conditions for joining have also become very simple. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, and black mountain ranges will each send a warrior to guard here. Whoever you can defeat can join the mountain range. Lin Mao reminded them, among the 8 mountain ranges, the weakest is the Black Immortal Mountain. Because there was a traitor, the talents in this mountain range have withered. Now, it can be said that there is no one left. It is the easiest to enter this mountain range, but it will be unfavorable for future development. Red, orange, and yellow mountain ranges are the strongest. Green, cyan, blue, and purple mountain ranges are at the same level. Whoever you want to challenge, it is up to you. Speaking of this, Lin Mao showed an imperceptible smile. It seemed that there was a hidden meaning in his words. When the three of them saw the opponents they needed to challenge in the 8 mountain ranges, they finally understood what Lin Mao meant. The strongest 3 mountains, red, orange, and yellow, all had middle-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artists at the first level of hell. In the other 4 mountain ranges, the opponents Xiao Chen wanted to challenge were weaker. They were early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artists in the first layer of hell. After that, in the Black Immortal Mountain range, the opponents he would challenge would be at the half-step Yin-Yang realm, level 10 strength. This was the easiest mountain range to enter, but it wasn't easy either. Doesn't that mean we can only enter the Black Immortal Mountain? Lin Yang frowned. I give up. It's okay to give up. In fact, it will be easier to enter a month later. Lin Mao smiled and said, other than having fewer people, does the Black Immortal Mountain have any other disadvantages? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Yes, in fact, the Black Immortal Mountain has a disadvantage in numbers, so they fall behind in many of the sex competitions. Naturally, the rewards they receive are less. Also, when carrying out missions, it is very difficult to find suitable companions. After all, many missions can't be completed alone. Lin Mao explained, as for the others, there is nothing. I only heard that the Mountain Master of the Black Immortal Mountain has a strange temper. In that case, I will choose the Black Immortal Mountain. Ling Xiao had joined the 8 Immortals Mountain only to obtain the cultivation resources and environment of the 8 Immortals Mountain. Although the Black Immortal Mountain was weak, it was not bad in all aspects. Many martial artists just followed the crowd. He didn't care. So what if they had fewer people? He was here to cultivate, not to make friends. He chose the Black Immortal Mountain. I will also choose the Black Immortal Mountain, Chen He said. Okay, Lin Yang, you go back first. The 2 of you come with me. Lin Mao led Ling Xiao and Chen He to the martial artist on duty in the Black Immortal Mountain. It turned out to be a girl. She was dressed in black and looked very beautiful. In the 8 Immortal Mountain, there were strict rules about the color of clothes. The disciples of the Black Immortal Mountain could only wear black clothes. At least that was the case in the sect. After leaving the sect, they could dress casually. "Hello, I am Feng Ru." Feng Ru? Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, he remembered the nameless youth who had entrusted him with the matter during the assessment. Wasn't the nameless youth's sister called Feng Ru? Moreover, she looked very similar to this girl in the portrait. It shouldn't be wrong. "What's wrong?" Feng Ru asked with a smile. This girl had the feeling of a girl next door. She was very approachable. Although she wasn't very beautiful, she was very comfortable. "Nothing." Ling Xiao shook his head. There was no need to say that. He would just take care of Feng Ru in the 8 Immortal Mountain in the future. "Okay, since there's nothing, you can attack me separately. As long as you can touch me, you will pass the assessment." Feng Ru smiled. "No way, junior sister Feng. Didn't I have to defeat you? When did the assessment of the Black Immortal Mountain become so simple?" Lin Mao smiled bitterly. "I have no choice, senior brother Lin. There are only 4 disciples in our Black Immortal Mountain. Including the 2 of them, there are only 6 people. Other mountain ranges have at least 2,000 people. I can only relax the assessment conditions." Feng Ru shook her head and sighed. "But then again, senior brother Lin, have you forgotten that I'm best at movement techniques? If they can touch me, they can defeat me. This is the most direct and concise way." "That's true. Then you too can start." Lin Mao stood aside and didn't leave. After all, if the 2 of them couldn't pass the assessment, they would have to follow him back. "I'll go first." Chen, he volunteered to go first. Once the battle began, Ling Xiao realized that this assessment wasn't simple. At least for Chen He, whose cultivation was only at the 10th level, it wasn't simple. Feng Ru's movement technique was really powerful. Once activated, her body turned into dozens of afterimages. It was impossible to tell which one was the real one and which one to touch. In the end, Chen He was exhausted and was about to give up. However, at this moment, a leaf flew from behind him and landed on one of the afterimages. Chen He was overjoyed. He pretended to attack other afterimages, but suddenly pounced on the afterimage of the leaf and successfully passed the assessment. "Thank you." When Chen He walked down, he lowered his voice and said 2 words to Ling Xiao. "That's right. The leaf naturally came from Ling Xiao. You don't have to take the assessment. Just come with me." Feng Ru was stunned for a moment and suddenly said. Obviously, she also saw that the leaf came from Ling Xiao. Chapter 2195. I didn't expect that both of you would pass the Black Immortal Mountains assessment. However, this is only the first step. You'll have to suffer in the future. Junior sister Feng, I'll take my leave first. I'll leave these 2 to you. Lin Mao also heaved a sigh of relief. Sending Ling Xiao away was equivalent to giving away a hot potato. Even if Mo Feiyu wanted to cause trouble, he wouldn't come looking for him. I'll take you to make your identity cards first. Now that you've joined the Black Immortal Mountain, you have the records of the 8 Immortal Mountain and are considered official disciples. The identity cards are related to all your records in the 8 Immortal Mountain, such as mission records, information records, contribution points, and so on. When the time comes, you can figure it out yourself. Feng Ru brought Ling Xiao and Chen He to a place called the Hall of Good Rewards and Evil Punishments. This was the place where the 8 Immortal Mountain received missions, completed missions, and earned contribution points, rewards, and punishments. The status of the Hall Master of the Hall of Good Rewards and Evil Punishments was equivalent to the doyen of the 8 Immortal Mountain. The hierarchy of the 8 Immortal Mountain was the sect master, doyen, elders, and deacons. The masters of the 8 Immortals were all doyens. The masters of the 8 Immortals were all elders. The other hall masters were either deacons or elders, but only the hall master of the Hall of Good Rewards and Evil Punishments was a doyen. After receiving their identity cards, the two of them officially joined the Black Immortal Mountain of the 8 Immortals. Feng Ru brought them to the Black Immortal Mountain. At the foot of the mountain, Feng Ru warned Ling Xiao and Chen He again, "There are only 6 disciples in the Black Immortal Mountain, including you. However, don't think that they are weak. On the contrary, other than me, the other 3 are all very powerful existences. At least in the 8 Immortal Mountain, they are ranked at the top. However, these 3 people have troublesome personalities. To put it bluntly, they are like lunatics. To put it nicely, they are abnormal. Unless you are stronger than them, don't offend them. They may not kill you because you are from the same sect, but they will definitely beat you up." Ling Xiao didn't have any direct impression of Feng Ru's words. However, when he saw one of them, Ling Xiao knew that Feng Ru was telling the truth. Among the disciples of the lower 8 Immortal Mountain, the strongest could reach the peak of the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm. Among the 4 disciples of the Black Immortal Mountain, apart from Feng Ru, who was the weakest, the other 3 were all at the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm. One of them was at the peak of the 2nd level. He was the eldest disciple of the Black Immortal Mountain, Qi Renfeng. This guy was a battle maniac. He wanted to challenge everyone he met. It was said that he had fought against the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master several hundred times. Although he was defeated every single time, not only was that guy not discouraged, he instead became more and more courageous as he fought. "You too, come here and fight with me." Ho Renfeng looked at Ling Xiao and Chen He. He was so excited that smoke came out of his nostrils. "Eldest senior brother, don't bully the newbies. How strong are they? How can they fight with you? You should go and challenge that lunatic Mo Feiyu." Feng Ru looked at Chai Renfeng and said, "Humph, I will. But I'm not his match now. I'll go and cultivate now." Mo Feiyu was Chai Renfeng's weakness. He dared to challenge others, even Lin Ruoxian, but he did not dare to challenge that lunatic Mo Feiyu. That lunatic would really kill people. Therefore, as long as others mentioned Mo Feiyu, he would cultivate like crazy, hoping to surpass Mo Feiyu one day. Fortunately, he was not old. He was only 18 years old. The 2nd senior brother of the Black Immortal Mountain, Zhou Tong, was at the late stage of the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm. He was a bit cold, especially when he looked at Ling Xiao. His gaze was cold and unfriendly. "Ling Xiao, you're good." After speaking, Zhou Tong turned and left. When Ling Xiao heard his name, he roughly knew why Zhou Tong was so cold to him. Zhou Tong should be from the Zhou family. Although he did not kill Zhou Yi, he only made Zhou Yi fail the test. That was enough for Zhou Tong to hate him. However, he was not even afraid of Mo Feiyu. What was Zhou Tong? Would he, Ling Xiao, be afraid? Ling Xiao thought to himself as he looked indifferently at Zhou Tong's back. As expected, strength was the most important thing no matter where. Without strength, everything was useless. "You too, go and clean our room and the courtyard. Feng Ru and I have been doing this for a long time. Now it's your turn." The person who said this was the 3rd senior brother, Feng Yu. He was at the peak of the 1st level of the Yin-Yang realm, the same as Lin Mao. "3rd senior brother, don't worry. We will do it." Feng Ru nodded. Only then did Feng Yu turn and leave. This was the Black Immortal Mountain. There was no such thing as senior brother. If someone was stronger than you, you had to work for them. If you were stronger than them, you could make them work for you. This rule was quite simple. You too don't have to worry about these chores. Anyway, I've gotten used to it in the past few years. The next thing you should prepare for is the entrance trial. Once you join the 8 Immortals Mountain, every new disciple will get a corresponding trial task. After completing it, you will be a true disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain. If you can't complete it, you will be sent back to the chores court. There are only 3 days until the entrance trial. Prepare well. Feng Ru was really like a senior sister. She was very considerate of her junior brothers. In addition, as long as you join the Black Immortal Mountain, Our rule is that everyone can get a low-tier jade martial skill. You too better limit yourself. I'll help you choose. Otherwise, the martial skills of the 8 Immortal Mountain are as vast as smoke. You won't be able to find a suitable one even after a few days. It will be a waste of time. Feng Ru continued, I naturally need an offensive martial skill. My cultivation is stronger than Ling Xiao's, but my battle power is far from his. I'm good at using the saber. It's best if it's a saber technique with power. Qin He said, Well, these are the names I've listed for you. You can choose one. After hearing Qin He's words, Feng Ru took out a piece of memory metal. Qin He held the memory metal and a lot of information instantly appeared in his mind. Even though the range had been narrowed down, there were still nearly 1,000 saber techniques. Qin He finally chose a saber technique that was suitable for him. After thinking for a long time, Ling Xiao chose a movement technique. The reason was simple. Although he had powerful movement techniques, such as light divine travel, shadow step, and even light and shadow escape, but he couldn't use them openly for the time being. He needed a movement technique as a cover. After he perfected the low-tier jade martial skill, it should be able to reach the mid-tier jade level. It should be more than enough for temporary use. As for martial skills, he already had the meteor sword art and the seal of eternal life. It was definitely enough. Unless it was a higher level martial skill, he wouldn't waste time. I'll choose the moon stepping meteor steps. Chapter 2196. Moon stepping meteor steps? It's a bit difficult to master. Without a certain foundation, it's hard to use it freely. Of course, if he succeeded in cultivating it, this moonlight meteor steps would be one of the most outstanding low-tier jade grade movement techniques in terms of speed, height, and dodging. Your eyesight is really sharp. Feng Ru glanced at Ling Xiao and said, Then I'll take it. Of course. Ling Xiao wouldn't be bad at the so-called foundation of movement technique. His movement technique was already the best in the world. Martial artists who were much stronger than him might not be able to catch up with him. When he was in Yuhua Town, he also created his own meteor steps. Of course, it was much weaker than this moon stepping meteor steps, but he had a foundation. He believed that it would be easier for him to cultivate it. All right, you guys go and cultivate first. I'll help you with the work that third senior brother gave me. Anyway, my aptitude isn't that good. No matter how hard I work, I won't be able to surpass geniuses like you. Feng Ru smiled and said, Thank you, senior sister Feng. Ling Xiao nodded and left. He naturally wouldn't forget Feng Ru's loyalty. When he had the chance, he would help this girl. Seeing that Ling Xiao had left, Qin, he also took the saber art he chose and went back to cultivate. There were fewer disciples on Black Immortal Mountain, so they could have their own room each. This was much better than other Immortal Mountains. After Ling Xiao obtained the moon treading meteor steps, he began to cultivate it. A mere low-tier jade grade martial art was not a problem to him at all. From afternoon to night, he only used 3 to 4 hours of time to cultivate the moonlight stepping meteor steps to the large success stage. Although it wasn't as good as his light, flash, godly steps and shadow steps, it was much better than the previous meteor steps. Moreover, because of the cultivation of the movement technique, his cultivation had once again increased slightly. It was late at night, and it was the time to cultivate. Ling Xiao planned to devour all the demonic seeds and try to break through to the half-step yin-yang realm as soon as possible. Xin Chong and Mo Feiyu were eyeing him covetously. The 3 people on Black Immortal Mountain were not to be trifled with. There were still 3 days before the entrance trial. He needed to have strength as a foundation. He came here to cultivate. How could he waste the abundant heaven and earth spirit chi of Black Immortal Mountain? But when he sat down cross-legged and was about to consume the demonic seeds, a figure suddenly flashed outside the room. Deacon Ruoxian, come in. Ling Xiao hid the demonic seed again and looked outside the house as he spoke. Hee, I didn't expect your vigilance to be so high. I thought I could approach you silently, but I didn't expect you to notice me so quickly. Lin Ruoxian's laughter came from outside the house. Then a celestial figure flew in. That's nothing. If Deacon Xian is too strong, it would be impossible for him to completely hide his aura. Ling looked indifferently to Deacon. This woman had helped him many times, so he naturally had to repay her kindness. However, it was impossible for him to completely trust this woman. Or Deacon, of reincarnate to of the world, of the world. Duh. What kind of people had he not seen before? He had seen a few women who looked gentle on the surface, but had the heart of a snake and scorpion. He had to slowly observe what kind of person Lin Ruoxian was. Feng Ru was the same. Ling Xiao would not trust anyone at first. He would slowly get to know her. But on the surface, he still had to show intimacy. No matter what, Lin Ruoxian had treated him well. He could not be ungrateful. Do you know why I came to find you tonight? Lin Ruoxian stood at the window and asked indifferently. She looked like a fairy. I don't know. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Two things. Lin Ruoxian said. First, we want to know your identity before you reincarnated. Second, we want to know if you have any enemies after you reincarnated. Please forgive me for not being able to answer the first thing. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, Second, I have a lot of enemies after I reincarnated. The Shun family, the Zhou family, and the Devil's Shadow sect. I know the Shun family and the Zhou family, but I have never heard of the Devil's Shadow sect. Lin Ruoxian sighed and said, I'll give you a suggestion. Go to the Shun family and the Zhou family and ask for forgiveness. As long as they don't kill you, you can accept anything. As for the Devil's Shadow sect, I don't know and can't give you any suggestions. But the Devil's Shadow sect has nothing to do with my 8 Immortal Mountain. If they find trouble with you, we can help protect you. Ask for forgiveness? That's impossible. Ling Xiao shook his head. I knew you would answer like that. Lin Ruoxian looked out of the window and sighed. Let me tell you this. The Shun family and the Zhou family are of our 8 Immortal Mountain. Our upper echelons are made up of the Lin family, the Zhou family, and the Shin family. If you don't apologize to them, I really don't want you to stay in the 8 Immortal Mountain. The 3 great families can control the 8 Immortal Mountain? Ling Xiao asked. Not necessarily. At least the sect master is not a member of the 3 great families, and some of the middle and upper echelons are not either. But the 3 great families can indeed influence many things. Lin Ruoxian replied. Then it doesn't matter. Among the 3 great families, the Lin family had no enmity with him, and Lin Yuan of the Lin family was one of his people. So he didn't need to leave the 8 Immortal Mountain. Up to you. I hope you don't regret it. Lin Ruoxian glanced at Ling Xiao, as if he had already guessed that this would be the result. Martial artists who had reincarnated were more arrogant than ordinary martial artists. How could they possibly go and beg for forgiveness? Wouldn't that be humiliating? Then let's talk about another thing. Are you sure you don't want to tell us about your past? Lin Ruoxian asked. Yes. Then you will never be a core disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Lin Ruoxian sighed and said, The 8 Immortal Mountain will not impart the sect's secret techniques to disciples who can't control it. Let's talk about this later. Ling Xiao didn't want to be tangled up in this issue. If his cultivation didn't recover to the rebirth realm, he would never reveal his identity. This was something no one could change. All right then, you continue to cultivate. I'm leaving. Lin Ruoxian came quickly and left quickly. This person didn't seem to have any personal feelings. He came to find Ling Xiao purely for business. Ling Xiao squinted his eyes as he sent Lin Ruoxian away. Suddenly he said, Looks like I have to hurry up and cultivate. This 8 Immortal Mountain is also full of danger. and it seems that I can't count on them to help the Ling family deal with the Devil Shadow Sect. This Devil Shadow Sect is so mysterious that even Lin Ruoxian doesn't know about it. It's definitely not simple. He closed his eyes and devoured the demonic seeds one by one. As the room was filled with black qi, Ling Xiao converted the demonic seeds into his own cultivation. Chapter 2197. No, at this time I need to refine some heavenly abode spirit pills, and I need to refine higher grade ones to help me break through. Looking at the sky, Ling Xiao quietly stepped out of the house and prepared to go to the 8 Immortal City to buy the materials to refine heavenly abode spirit pills. Stop! Who would have thought that just as Ling Xiao stepped out of the door, he was stopped by a voice? He frowned and recognized that it was his third senior, Brother Fengyu. I wonder what senior Brother Fengyu wants to do. Ling Xiao cupped his hands and said, "Help me run an errand and go to the 8 Immortal City to buy some Heavenly Dragon Trading Company's dragon wine." Fengyu said. Ling Xiao thought that since it was on the way, there was no need to argue with this person, so he nodded and said, "No problem, where is the money?" "Money? Do you need money to buy wine for your senior brother? Hurry up and come back within 2 hours, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite," Fengyu said indifferently. Understood. Ling Xiao sneered. "You dare to drink the wine I bought? Didn't anyone tell you that you would rather offend the king of hell than an alchemist?" He agreed readily, quickened his pace, and hurried down the mountain and left in a hurry. From here to the 8 Immortal City, if he didn't use the teleportation array, it would take a long time and it would be very dangerous. However, this was not a problem for Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had already made a 2-way teleportation array to the 8 Immortal City. This was based on the one used by Lin Mao. Others couldn't make a teleportation array of this level, but it was easy for him. Seeing that there was no one around, Ling Xiao activated a teleportation portal in a very secluded place and directly teleported to the Eastern Pass. Then he entered the 8 Immortal City from the East Pass. Because he was worried that the Shen family and Zhou family would cause trouble, he first disguised himself. Then he went to the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company. The scale of the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company in the 8 Immortal City was comparable to the former Divine Phoenix imperial capital. Ling Xiao stepped into the trading company and didn't reveal his identity, nor did he use his VIP card. He went straight to the place where medicinal herbs were sold and bought the medicinal herbs needed to refine the heavenly spiritual pill. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly heard someone exclaim, "Catch the thief!" The Heavenly Dragon Trading Firm actually had thieves who dared to steal? Ling Xiao was a little surprised. However, the bodyguards of the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company were not weak. There was no need for him to take action. The thief was quickly caught. Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to watch such a boring show. He turned around and chose to leave. But at this moment, the thief pointed at him and shouted, "Boss, don't leave me alone." It was this voice that caused Ling Xiao to be surrounded by people. As expected of the Heavenly Dragon Trading Firm, even this ordinary bodyguard was a half-step yin-yang realm martial artist. Ling Xiao couldn't help but frown. Just as he was about to explain, a rather unruly female voice suddenly sounded. "Humph, I knew you weren't a good person just now. Sneaking around and wearing shabby clothes. You actually wandered around the trading company's medicine store for so long. It turns out that you are in cahoots with this little thief." He raised his eyes and looked at the unruly face. She was very unfamiliar. She was about 20 years old and dressed very ordinarily. At a glance, he knew that she was just a staff member of the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company. "Miss, malicious words hurt people. It's better not to jump to conclusions without any real evidence." Ling Xiao looked at the woman indifferently and said, the woman's beautiful face looked very disgusting at this moment. "No real evidence. You have already been betrayed by your own people. How can you still be so pretentious? Catch him for me." How dare he cause trouble in the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company? He really doesn't want to live anymore. The woman waved her hand and said coldly. At that moment, Ling Shao saw the smug smile at the corner of the thief's eyes. He suddenly understood that the moment he entered the 8 Immortal City, he had probably been recognized by others. This was simply a trap. Someone deliberately framed him. Was it the Shen family or the Zhou family? It didn't matter who it was. In short, he was very clear that he had been framed. However, Ling Shao was not a person who would wait for death. Moreover, the strongest of these bodyguards was only a half-step yin-yang realm martial artist with level 10 strength cultivation. How could he be afraid? More than 10 people surrounded him. Ling Shao stepped on the ground and disappeared instantly like a meteor. When he reappeared, he was already beside the thief. He directly lifted the thief and asked coldly, "Who asked you to frame me? Tell me, and I can let you die quickly. Otherwise, I will make your whole family suffer." "Hee, boss, why don't you recognize me? We have been working together for more than 10 years. The thief laughed and said, "Crack! Ah!" Exclamations sounded in the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company. This was because the thief's right arm was cut off by Ling Shao. The thief screamed continuously, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Ling Shao did not talk nonsense with him. Still the same question. "Answer me." "Boss, This time, before the thief could finish his words, his other arm was cut off. "Do you know what a human swine is? Don't provoke me. Otherwise, no amount of money can buy your life back." Ling Zhao's cold voice reached the thief's ears. A terrifying, murderous aura filled the air. The thief finally lost control of his bladder. "It's show." Suddenly, a silver needle shot out from the crowd. However, it did not hit the thief. Ling Shao blocked it with his sword and nailed it to a nearby pillar. "It's that bastard Zhou Feng. He actually wanted to kill me, to silence me. That little bastard." The thief finally cursed loudly. "At least you know what's good for you. I'll return these 2 arms to you. If I reattach them in time, they can still recover." "Scram," Ling Shao said coldly as he looked at the thief. The thief turned around and hurried out of the crowd. Ling Shao looked back at the woman from the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company and said, "Did you hear what he said?" "How do I know if you are in cahoots?" The woman was still looking for trouble. "Fine. You said that I stole something from your Heavenly Dragon Trading Company. Take out the evidence. Otherwise, you have seen my methods. I will definitely make you pay the price." Ling Shao looked at the woman coldly. He had already explained the matter clearly. The thief had also admitted it. Yet, this person still wanted to target him. "Why did you go to the pharmacy?" The woman asked. "Are you out of your mind?" "I went to the pharmacy to buy medicine," Ling Shao said indifferently. "But I saw that you went to many shops with precious medicinal herbs. Those things are very expensive. Do you have the money to buy them?" The woman straightened her neck. She seemed to have determined that Ling Shao was a thief. "Mu Zi, shut up." Just as Ling Shao was about to make a move, a middle-aged man's voice suddenly sounded. Ling Shao turned his head to look. His pupils could not help but shrink. Chapter 2198. A terrifying aura was released from this person's body. This fellow was much more powerful than Mo Feiyu. "Shopkeeper." Mu Zi was shocked. She had never seen the shopkeeper as angry as he was today. "How many times have I told you not to judge a book by its cover? Don't suspect a customer. Don't you have a brain?" The shopkeeper glanced at Mu Zi and coldly said, "This esteemed guest spending in our medicine shop is already enough to qualify as a novice VIP. A junior VIP. Mu Zi opened her mouth wide in surprise. A junior VIP required customers to spend more than 100,000 low-grade spirit stones in one go. Even in the entire 8 Immortal City, only a few people could achieve this. Even among the 3 great families, There weren't many people who could take out 100,000 low-grade spirit stones in one go. Therefore, it wasn't easy to get a Sky Dragon Trading Firm VIP card. At that moment, the way Muzi looked at Ling Xiao changed completely. She hurriedly apologized respectfully. "I'm sorry, esteemed customer. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I looked down on you. How much is an apology worth?" Ling Xiao said faintly, "Esteemed customer, I am Lin Fengyuan, the shopkeeper of this trading firm. In view of the negative impact our staff has brought to you, we are willing to publicly apologize and refund you 20% of the purchase price. What do you think?" The middle-aged man said after some thought. This person knew how to conduct himself. In fact, a junior VIP wasn't qualified to be received by the shopkeeper personally. However, Lin Fengyuan still came out. In the Eight Immortal City, a junior VIP was considered a very high-class existence. He didn't dare neglect it. "All right, I'm not the kind of person who doesn't forgive people. Shopkeeper Liu, can we talk in private?" Ling Xiao had come to the Sky Dragon Trading Firm today to buy medicinal herbs and do some other things. That was to find treasures for the Shun Dian and his master, the Yuan Venerate that could nurture the soul. He had seen them in the trading firm before. They did have them, but the quality was too poor, and they couldn't be used at all. Therefore, he wanted to ask shopkeeper Liu to see if he had them. In the past, Ling Xiao and Princess Yunya's transactions had been carried out in secret. He had long been used to this. "All right, this way, please." Lin Fengyuan knew that he might have met a big customer today. Although he did not know the identity of this young man, he was definitely not an ordinary person, since he could take out 100,000 low-grade spirit stones at once. Furthermore, the strength that he had displayed earlier was also very outstanding for his age. Such a person was definitely someone they had to win over. After Lin Fengyuan and Ling Xiao left, Muzi let out a deep breath. If that Ling Xiao was an unforgiving person, then with shopkeeper Lin Fengyuan's temper, she Muzi would definitely have to suffer today. After entering the VIP room, Ling Xiao went straight to the point and said what he wanted. High-quality soul-nurturing treasures are not easy to find. Lin Fengyuan frowned. "Spirit stones are not a problem. I know your Heavenly Dragon Trading Company has the ability to do so." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "All right. To be honest, our Heavenly Dragon Trading Company has recently obtained some soul-nourishing treasures. Moreover, the quality of those treasures is quite good. However, the price for them is also astonishing." Lin Fengyuan said, "How much?" Ling Xiao asked. "It's a kind of soul-nourishing gem. As long as you wear it, you can use it for at least a month. It can nourish your soul for a long time. Therefore, the price is 100,000 low-grade spirit stones per piece." Lin Fengyuan tentatively set a price. 50,000 per piece. "I'll take as many as you have." Ling Xiao's answer was also very straightforward. "Hee, little brother is really straightforward. All right, 50,000 it is. Let's consider it as making friends. I have a total of 10 such gems in my hand." Although Ling Xiao directly cut the price in half, Lin Fengyuan did not continue to bargain because this price was still a big profit for him. In order not to offend Ling Xiao, the god of wealth, he agreed to the deal. Ling Xiao casually took out a Heavenly Dragon card and handed it to Lin Fengyuan. "There are 1 million low-grade spirit stones in it. Check it and then directly deduct it. Would you like to apply for a VIP card? You can buy our things at a cheaper price in the future." Lin Fengyuan asked. "I'm not interested in a junior VIP card." Ling Xiao shook his head. "No, I'll apply for a senior VIP card for you." Lin Fengyuan said with a smile, "Our Heavenly Dragon Trading Company has always liked to make friends with promising young warriors like you. Although the senior VIP card is not the best VIP card in our Heavenly Dragon Trading Company, you can buy everything in the future with a 30% discount and many other benefits." "That's more like it." Ling Xiao certainly knew why the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company did this. In the past, when he traded with Princess Yunya, he did not reach the qualification of a top VIP, but he still got a top VIP card. Later, he was directly promoted to a special VIP. This was not because he spent a lot in the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company, but because some of his qualifications were valued by the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company. It was the same this time. Lin Fengyuan saw his potential and wanted to make friends with him, so he made him one of the rare senior VIPs in the 8 Immortal City. Please wait a moment. Not long after Lin Fengyuan left, he came back again with a brand new VIP card in his hand. In addition, there was the Heavenly Dragon card that Ling Xiao had just used. Thank you very much. I still have some things to do, so I'll take my leave first. Shopkeeper, please continue to keep an eye out for these soul-nourishing treasures in the future. I want as many as you have. Ling Xiao stood up and turned to leave. Lin Fengyuan even saw him off personally. Mu Zi saw this scene and was even more shocked. He felt more and more scared in his heart. Fortunately, he did not hurt this young man just now. Otherwise, he would have been finished. Shopkeeper, what is his background? After Ling Xiao walked away, Mu Zi asked carefully. His background? A young man who can take out 1 million low-grade spirit stones at once. Do you think he has no power behind him? I suspect that he may be one of the 8 immortals on the 8 Immortals Mountain. Lin Fengyuan lowered his voice and said, in short, he will be a senior VIP of our Heavenly Dragon Trading Company in the future. After you see him, you must treat him with care. Don't be disrespectful. I understand. Mu Zi was also frightened. It was rumored that the 8 immortals of the 8 Immortals Mountain were very mysterious. The outside world knew very little. But what was certain was that once the 8 immortals were angry, the entire 8 Immortal City would be destroyed. No one could bear their anger. Since you know, go and do your work. In the future, keep your eyes open. Don't be so muddle-headed like this time. If you offend someone you shouldn't offend, even I may not be able to save you. At the same time, Ling Xiao had returned to the Black Immortal Mountain. Feng Yu and Feng Ru were waiting there. Chapter 2199. Ha ha ha, kid, you've done well. Senior brother will cover for you in the future. Feng Yu took the wine and left while drinking. Ling Xiao looked at his back coldly. Cover for me? Humph! You dare to drink the wine I bought after treating me like this? You must be tired of living. He put something in the wine. It was the life and death illusion powder that he developed before. Because Feng Yu's cultivation was higher, he deliberately increased the dosage. He didn't believe that this guy wouldn't fall for it. In the mystic world, strength was not the only thing that could kill people. There were many other things. Ling Xiao wasn't an alchemist for nothing. Ling Xiao, here are 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Take it as me helping third senior brother to return it to you. Feng Ru took out a Heavenly Dragon card and prepared to transfer the spirit stones to Ling Xiao. Senior sister Feng, you have a total of 30,000 low-grade spirit stones in your card. You've worked hard to accumulate them over the years. If you give me 10,000 spirit stones, what will you use them for? Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, I have plenty of spirit stones, so senior sister doesn't need to worry. Let's talk about business. I know that senior sister didn't come to me today for this matter. Feng Ru sighed and said, I've let you laugh at me. A dignified disciple of 8 Immortal Mountain is actually so poor, but there's nothing I can do about it. 8 Immortal Mountain rewards spirit stones according to the speed of cultivation. My cultivation has stopped at half-step Yin-Yang realm. It's been a long time since I reached the 10th level. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about business. I've inquired about the mission in 2 days. It might be a little troublesome. Troublesome? What kind of trouble? Ling Xiao said with a frown. Your entry trial mission will be a team mission. At that time, there will be high-level martial artists accompanying you to carry it out. Feng Ru replied, "That's good. Why is it troublesome?" Ling Xiao believed that Feng Ru must have something else to say. "The troublesome thing is that the sect has confirmed that you, Xin Chong, and Lin Yang will carry out the mission together." Feng Ru sighed. "Xin Chong? Lin Yang?" Ling Xiao suddenly remembered what Lin Ruoxian had asked him last night. He hadn't answered or agreed to anything. Could it be that the sect was going to give up on him because of this? Or was there another reason? But isn't Lin Yang a servant disciple? How can he carry out missions? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Lin Yang is a member of the Lin family, and his aptitude is not bad. It would be easy for him to join the 8 Immortal Mountain as a disciple. Currently, he has been assigned to the Purple Immortal Mountain, where Xinchong is. Feng Ru said, "This sect is a microcosm of the whole society. Although the so-called system is complete and the rules are strict, it's actually not as good as you think. Networking is still an important factor." "I understand." Ling Xiao suddenly smiled. He guessed that Xinchong wanted to use this opportunity to get rid of him. Just as well, he could also use this opportunity to get rid of Xinchong. Anyway, it was normal to die while doing missions outside. He hoped that Xinchong and Lin Yang wouldn't be stupid. Otherwise, he would definitely not show mercy. Now that he had bought all the herbs needed to refine the Grotto Heaven spiritual pill, it would be very easy for him to break through to the advanced half-step yin-yang realm. At that time, he would be able to fight Xinchong even without using the diabolical dragon seal. If he used the diabolical dragon seal, Xinchong would have to pray. "Aren't you worried or afraid?" Feng Ru asked. "It's useless to worry or be afraid. Unless I choose to leave the 8 Immortal Mountain, I might be able to avoid this disaster. And if I leave without saying goodbye, I'll be betraying the sect. The 8 Immortal Mountain won't let me go, right?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Someone wants me dead, but I can't die yet. Right, senior sister, let me ask you something." Ling Xiao no longer thought about the mission. After all, he couldn't change the sex arrangement. Since he couldn't change it, there was no point in thinking about it. If Shen Chong wanted to die, he couldn't stop him. He suddenly thought of another matter. "Ask away. As long as I know, I'll tell you." Feng Ru nodded. "Have you heard of Ling Yan?" When Ling Xiao came to the 8 Immortal City, he took Ling Yan's identity card, but he didn't use it. He was worried that something might go wrong. At this time, he asked about Ling Yan because he wanted to know about Ling Yan after Ling Yan entered the samsara. Sure. Hearing this name, Feng Ru's expression changed drastically. She hurriedly covered Ling Xiao's mouth and whispered, "Do you want to die? This person's name is taboo in the 8 Immortals Mountain." "No way. I've investigated. Ling Yan should be the first-generation sect leader of the 8 Immortals Mountain." Ling Xiao looked at Feng Ru and said. Feng Ru looked around and confirmed that no one was around. Then she said, "You're right. Ling Yan is the first-generation sect leader of the 8 Immortals Mountain. He is also the most outstanding genius of the 8 Immortals Mountain. But it is said that after his cultivation reached the rebirth realm, he betrayed the sect, causing the death of the previous generation's deputy sect leader and 6 elders. Since then, this person has been removed from the 8 Immortals Mountain." "What?" Hearing Feng Ru's words, Ling Xiao was shocked. This was completely different from what Ling Yan said. Ling Yan once said that on the night of his samsara, he was besieged by several masked experts. He used all his strength to kill them. After that, he entered the samsara. Because of this, Ling Yan didn't dare to expose his identity and kept a low profile. Ling Xiao naturally believed Ling Yan's words more. This 8 Immortals Mountain seemed to be very deep. He really couldn't leave. Speaking of which, Ling Yan could be considered his good brother now. Ling Yan guarded Yuhua Town for him, so he should investigate the 8 Immortals Mountain clearly. After returning to his room, Ling Xiao set up a formation around the room and began to refine pills. 2 hours later, all the required medicinal pills were refined. He took out a few pills and gave them to Chin-hee. Since he wanted Chun-hee to work for him, he should at least give him some benefits. Otherwise, why would he help him? He was also a rebirth realm martial artist. Although he didn't look like much now, his future achievements would definitely be great. When Chun-hee saw the pills, he was naturally moved. Although he wasn't willing to go through fire and water, he gradually made up his mind to work with Ling Xiao. The Grotto Heaven Spiritual Essence Pill was a perfect Grotto Heaven Spiritual Essence Pill. It couldn't be bought even at the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company, but Ling Xiao had it. With these pills, his breakthrough to the Yin-Yang realm was just around the corner. After giving the pills, Ling Xiao began to cultivate in seclusion. 2 days later, he stepped out of the straw hut. His face was ruddy and his eyes were bright. Obviously, his strength had greatly improved again. With his strength improved, it would be safer to carry out this mission. Unless Shen Chong was obedient, he would definitely take that guy's life. Chapter 2200. After breaking through to the Yin-Yang realm, Chun-hee's status among the 8 immortals would be much higher. Naturally, he would be very happy. I wish us all success in the mission. He cupped his hands at Ling Xiao and then turned to leave. He was going to carry out the mission with Zhou Tong, and there should be other disciples from other mountains. Some people had put in a lot of effort. They knew that Ling Xiao and Chun-hee had a good relationship, so they deliberately separated them and did not give them a chance to work together. Naturally, it would be easier to deal with them. At this moment, Feng Ru had also arrived. Looking at Ling Xiao, she sighed and said, "Are you sure you want to carry out the mission? Actually, you can choose to give up. At worst, you can just return to being an odd job disciple. With your ability, you will be able to quickly return. There is no need for that. If I shrink back this time, I will only think of shrinking back when I encounter difficulties in the future. Then I will be finished." If it was something he could not solve, Ling Xiao might choose to shrink back. However, a mere Shin Chong was not qualified to make him give up. "Fine, then come with me. Shin Chong and Lin Yang are waiting at the foot of the mountain." Feng Ru saw that Ling Xiao had made up his mind, so she did not persuade him any more. She immediately led Ling Xiao down the mountain. While walking, she gave him a general introduction of the mission. On the surface, the mission this time is relatively simple. It has something to do with the first stage of the entrance examination. Although most of the bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold were killed, some still escaped. These people fled to the vicinity of North Peak Town, burning, killing, robbing, and committing all kinds of crimes. Your mission is to completely eliminate these bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold. Can't the people of North Peak Town deal with them? Ling Xiao asked. I'm afraid not. North Peak Town can pay a lot of money to ask for help from the 8 Immortals Mountain. The bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold are not as simple as they seem. Therefore, you must not only be careful of Shin Chong, but also this group of bandits. Feng Ru reminded. Understood. Ling Xiao nodded. Although he still couldn't figure it out, he was confident that he could face the remaining bandits now that his cultivation had improved. Moreover, he also liked the demonic seeds in the bodies of the bandits, which were of great help to his cultivation. The 2 of them walked down the Black Immortal Mountain and saw a huge Imperial Wind Eagle squatting there. Seeing the 2 of them, the Imperial Wind Eagle suddenly turned its head and let out a sharp cry. Oh, the Imperial Wind Eagle should be a demonic beast, specially raised by the Shin family. It is said that the Imperial Wind Eagle's strength is at the early stage of the first level of the Yin-Yang realm. When it fully matures, it will be able to reach the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm. Are we going to ride this thing on this mission? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Oh, isn't this junior brother Ling? You've finally come. That's right, this is our Chun family's Imperial Wind Eagle. This time, I'm indebted to the sect for thinking highly of me, allowing me to assist you in completing your mission. As the saying goes, It's better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. Can we write off what happened before? Seeing Ling Xiao, Shen Chong walked over with a smile. Although his words were still considered pleasant to the ears, that pretentious manner really made people feel somewhat disgusted. I'm afraid that even though I hope to write off what happened, some people are still holding a grudge in their hearts. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, I hope that we can have a pleasant cooperation. Otherwise, I'm afraid that some people won't be able to return this time. Shin Chong's expression changed slightly. Then he smiled and said to Feng Ru, Junior sister Feng, you should go back. Don't tell me that you're still worried with me here. Of course I'm not worried. North Peak Town is also one of the territories of the 8 Immortal Mountain. We have people there. If Senior Brother Shin encounters any trouble that you can't solve, you can go there for help. Although Feng Ru was young, she was quite shrewd. She was clearly warning Shin Chong not to act recklessly. Otherwise, the 8 Immortal Mountain would soon find out what happened. Hee, Junior sister Feng really cares about this junior brother of yours. But don't forget, there's a chance of dying while carrying out a mission. Anyone can die. Shen Chong did not care about Feng Ru's warning at all. The reason why he could go on a mission with Ling Xiao this time was, of course, not because of his own ability. Someone was helping him from behind. That person was naturally Mo Feiyu. With Mo Feiyu's personality, how could he let Ling Xiao live well after suffering a setback? Because of this, there was this mission. This was something that even Lin Ruoxian could not interfere with. Mo Feiyu's ability was that great. Feng Ru was angry, but there was nothing she could do. She had to admit that she was too weak to protect her junior brother and junior sister. Was what happened in the past going to happen again? She sighed helplessly, feeling a little hopeless. In fact, although there were traitors in the Black Immortal Mountain before, they were not as weak as they were now. The reason for this was that they had been schemed against. Every time there was a new disciple in the Black Immortal Mountain, they would be killed or driven away. She still clearly remembered that a junior sister died in front of her, but she could not do anything about it. In the end, when she reported it to the sect, it was left unsettled. There was no other reason except that the 8 Immortal Mountain was under the control of the 3 big families. Unless you entered the 8 Immortal Mountain, you would be courting death if you became an enemy of the 3 big families. Ling Xiao, don't die. Feng Ru could only pray secretly. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Let's all get on the Imperial Wind Eagle. Shin Chong was the first to jump on, followed by Lin Yang. When Ling Xiao was about to get on, the Imperial Wind Eagle suddenly stood up and flapped its wings, creating a gust of wind. It seemed to want to send Ling Xiao flying. Shen Chong, what are you doing? Feng Ru naturally knew that this was Shen Chong's doing. They had not even left the 8 Immortal Mountain, and Shen Chong had already started to deal with Ling Xiao. His guts were really big. Senior sister, he can't do anything to me. Ling Xiao's voice was heard, and a terrifying killing intent was suddenly aimed at the Imperial Wind Eagle. The originally excited Imperial Wind Eagle immediately squatted down, and its body was still trembling. It's good that you're obedient. Otherwise, I'll kill you too. Ling Xiao's cold voice sounded as he stood on the Imperial Wind Eagle. As for Shen Chong and Lin Yang, they were lying on the feathers, because when the Imperial Wind Eagle was flying, there would be astral winds. If they were not careful, they might be thrown down from the top. This brat is courting death. Shen Chong looked at Ling Xiao and secretly sneered. Perhaps he did not even need to make a move, and this idiot would die in the astral winds. He did not know why the Imperial Wind Eagle suddenly squatted down to let Ling Xiao up. If he knew, he would not think this way. On a certain mountain peak of the 8 Immortal Mountain, one could clearly see the Imperial Wind Eagle soaring in the sky. You're satisfied with this? Your heart is smaller than a needle's eye. There were 2 people standing on the mountain peak. Chapter 2201. You can say whatever you want. I, Mo Feiyu, will not allow anyone to go against me. Standing behind Lin Ruoxian with a sinister smile was Mo Feiyu. You weren't like this before. Ever since you lost to that person, you've become paranoid. Lin Ruoxian sighed and said, And don't you think that this Ling Xiao is very similar to that person? You're targeting him now. Sooner or later, you'll get your retribution. Don't mention that person to me. He's now a traitor of the 8 Immortals Mountain. Mo Feiyu sneered and said, And do you think that Ling Xiao can come back alive? Xin Chong can't kill him. Lin Ruoxian shook his head and said, I chose him to enter the sect, so I'm very clear about this little guy's talent and ability. I don't expect Xin Chong to kill him. Hee. Don't you think there's something wrong with this mission? Mo Feiyu's smile became even more sinister. Beifeng Town is your hometown. Lin Ruoxian suddenly thought of a terrifying thing. If this mission was a trap, then how could a mere Ling Xiao come back alive? You've really put in a lot of effort to deal with a little kid. Lin Ruoxian looked at Mo Feiyu and said, You've completely fallen. Our previous relationship is completely terminated from today onwards. I, Lin Ruoxian, don't have a friend like you. Then she turned and left. Looking at Lin Ruoxian's back, Mo Feiyu said to himself eerily, What's a woman? When I control the entire 8 Immortals Mountain, you won't be able to escape from me. The speed of the Imperial Wind Eagle might not be comparable to Ling Xiao's own speed, but it was very comfortable to sit on it. On the way from the 8 Immortals County to Beifeng Town, Ling Xiao had been on guard against Xin Chong, but this guy didn't seem to have any intention of making a move. He didn't think that Xin Chong suddenly had a conscience. There must be another reason. Perhaps this trip to North Feng Town was really a trap. Even so, Ling Xiao had no intention of backing down. Ever since he started learning martial arts, every time he encountered difficulties, he would face them head-on. This was what forged his fearless character and terrifying willpower. As long as he didn't die, he wouldn't despair. Before arriving at North Peak Town, Xin Chong put away the Imperial Wind Eagle. This kind of big guy might not be much in the 8 Immortals County, but in the town it would definitely cause a big sensation. Once that happened, the news of them coming here would be exposed. Therefore, Xin Chong was not stupid and kept a low profile. The moment he stepped into North Feng Town, Ling Xiao suddenly felt a strong killing intent. Although this killing intent had been cleverly concealed, in the end, it was unable to escape his powerful soul force. There's something wrong with this North Peak Town. Ling Xiao was secretly cautious as he followed Xin Chong and Lin Yang towards the North Peak Town's guardian mansion. Xin Chong and Lin Yang were far away from Ling Xiao as they conversed in low voices. Xin Chong said coldly, Lin Yang, I know that your Lin family has some relationship with Ling Xiao, but no matter what happens later, you better keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, I'm afraid that even you will die. Lin Yang suddenly shivered. He felt that something was wrong when he was pulled out for a mission this time. How could Xin Chong be so kind? This time, not only did Xin Chong want to kill Ling Xiao, but he might also scheme against the Lin family and make him die here. In this way, people would think that Ling Xiao killed Lin Yang and Xin Chong killing Ling Xiao was a matter of course. Not only that, the Lin family would definitely massacre Yuhua Town to avenge him. This Xin Chong was really insidious. Lin Yang was not stupid. He thought of this, but he didn't say it out loud. If Shen Chong knew that he had seen through everything, he would probably be killed immediately. Don't worry, Lin Yang. As long as you don't say anything, I guarantee that nothing will happen to you. Shen Chong patted Lin Yang's shoulder lightly and smiled. But in Lin Yang's eyes, this guy's smile was like a ferocious beast. Not only was it sinister, but it was also vicious. It was a scary smile that could devour people. Mo family. Ling Xiao came to the entrance of the defender's residence and noticed that there was a big courtyard with 2 big words written on it. At that moment, he seemed to understand a lot. Why did he feel such a terrifying, murderous aura after entering the town? Mo Feiyu's surname was also Mo. This Mo family was probably related to Mo Feiyu. Ling Xiao, why aren't you moving? Shen Chong turned around and glanced at Ling Xiao as he asked in annoyance. You go your own way. Why are you so concerned about me? Ling Xiao stood there without moving because he had a feeling that the defender's residence was definitely not a good place. TSK, did this kid notice? Shin Chong curled his lips and waved his hand. Let's move. There's no need to wait any longer. Following his voice, many warriors suddenly ran out of the Mo family's courtyard. These warriors all had extraordinary cultivations. At the very least, they were much stronger than the warriors in Ascension Town. Of course, this was not the problem. The problem was that the head of the Mo family, Mo Yuan, who was also the defender of the North Peak town, threw out a formation refining stone. In just a moment, Ling Xiao and Lin Yang were trapped in the formation. Origin Vajra formation. Ling Xiao recognized this formation, but he felt that it was a little strange. The Origin Vajra formation was supposed to be a defensive formation that could create a strong defense and prevent external enemies from hurting him. Why did the Mo family do this? Just as he was puzzled, the Origin Vajra formation suddenly opened up 4 channels. 4 ferocious beasts crawled out of the 4 channels. 3 of them were at the half-step Yin-Yang realm, level 10. 1 of them was at the early stage of the Yin-Yang realm, level 1 of hell. Now he understood what the Mo family wanted to do. He also understood why Shen Chong did not make a move along the way. It turned out that the trap had already been prepared and was waiting for him to jump in. What should we do? Ling Xiao, Shen Chong must want us to die so that the Lin family can deal with Ascension Town. Lin Yang was plotted against, so of course he had to stand on the same side as Ling Xiao. He's dreaming. Ling Xiao sneered and said, From now on, you have to listen to everything I say. Otherwise, I'll kill you first, and then find Shen Chong to settle the score. If possible, he did not want to kill Lin Yang. Saving Lin Yang would definitely be more beneficial to him than killing him. After all, he could not offend all 3 major families in the 8 Immortal City. It was crucial to maintain a good relationship with the Lin family. I'll listen to you. Lin Yang nodded and said, seeing how calm Ling Xiao was, he suddenly felt a spark of hope. Even Mo Feiyu could not kill Ling Xiao, so Ling Xiao must have some ability. This time, he might be able to save him. As long as he could get out, he would make Shen Chong pay the price. Chapter 2202. Can you handle a half-step Yin-Yang realm level 10 demonic beast if I give you one? Ling Xiao asked. Hey, Ling Xiao, don't underestimate me. Although I'm not as good as you, I'm still a genius disciple of the Lin family. I can handle a demonic beast of the same cultivation level. Lin Yang smiled. Good. You focus on the demonic beast to the east. Leave the other 3 to me. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, his figure suddenly flashed, and he tore through the sky like a shooting star. With just one strike, a ferocious demonic beast was beheaded and fell into a pool of blood. You're so strong. Looks like we've all underestimated you. Lin Yang was shocked. Don't just be envious. Focus on the battle. Ling Xiao scolded. Understood. Unconsciously, Lin Yang began to listen to Ling Xiao. Perhaps it was Ling Xiao's stunning strike that made him realize how powerful Ling Xiao was. People always like to listen to the words of the strong, and Lin Yang was no exception. When Lin Yang started fighting, the Yin-Yang realm demonic beast had already caught up to Ling Xiao and started attacking. Ling Xiao could easily suppress a half-step Yin-Yang realm level 10 demonic beast. But with his current cultivation level, it was still difficult for him to kill a Yin-Yang realm level 10 demonic beast quickly. Moreover, he was being attacked by 2 demonic beasts. Well, it's a good opportunity to practice the new half meteor steps. I haven't used it many times in actual combat. While Ling Xiao and Lin Yang were fighting, outside the Chaos Energy Diamond Array, Mo Yuan saluted Xinqiang and said, "Greetings, Lord Xinqiang of the Eight Immortal Mountain. Please get up. Your senior brother Mo's father. Senior brother Mo took care of me a lot in the Eight Immortal Mountain. How could I accept such a great greeting from you?" Xinqiang hurriedly helped Mo Yuan up. However, he was a little surprised. Mo Yuan was only the guard of the North Peak town, but his cultivation level was already at the Yin-Yang Realm Level 1. He was slightly stronger than Xinqiang. This was probably all thanks to Mo Feiyu. Seriously, Feiyu, if he had let this town take action, we could have easily killed Ling Xiao and Lin Yang. There's no need for him to use the Chaos Vajra formation. We won't even be able to watch the show. Mo Yuan seemed a little dissatisfied. The primordial Vajra array could not be seen from the outside, but it could be seen from the inside. This was because this was a defensive array formation to begin with. It was actually beneficial to the cultivators inside. After being remodeled by the Mo clan, it looked more like a cage. Ha ha ha. Defender Mo, why are you so concerned? I believe that senior apprentice brother Mo is doing this because he wants to imitate the Eight Immortal Mountain, sending people to investigate. Of course, no one cared about Ling Xiao's death, but Lin Yang's death was something the Lin family would never let go of. Letting them die in the hands of demonic beasts is the best choice. Xinqiang smiled and said, "Now that you mention it, I understand. Let's go, little brother. Don't bother about those 2 pieces of trash. They'll be dead in half an hour at most. Let's go for a drink." Mo Yuan touched his bald head. He finally understood Mo Feiyu's thoughts and felt much better. At the table, Mo Yuan served Xinqiang the best wine in North Feng Town. The two gradually talked about the remaining bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold. "Guardian Mo, is it true about the bandits?" Xinqiang asked. "Sai, to be honest, little brother, the bandit incident is true. Those guys' whereabouts are too strange. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been unable to deal with them." Mo Yuan sighed and said, "Now that little brother is here, we'll definitely be able to catch all the bandits in one fell swoop if we work together." "That's right. They're just bandits. The strongest among them is only at half-step Yin-Yang Realm Level 10. As long as we work together well, the credit for this mission will be yours and mine. As for Ling Xiao and Lin Yang, they can only wait for the good news in hell." Xinqiang smiled. Of course, he didn't accept this mission just to kill Ling Xiao. In Xinqiang's opinion, killing Ling Xiao was just a piece of cake. He had more important things to do. That was to kill the remaining bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold. Mo Feiyu told him that the remaining bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold had a very powerful forbidden technique. They cultivated by sucking human blood. The more human blood they sucked, the faster their cultivation would increase. Sucking the blood of martial artists with high cultivation would increase their cultivation even more. Mo Feiyu meant for Xinqiang to get the manual and give it to him. However, Xinqiang had other thoughts. Why should he give such a good thing to others? It would be great if he could use it himself. He didn't care how terrifying and evil sucking blood was. In the mystic world, there was no distinction between good and evil, only the strong and the weak. No matter what martial arts it was, as long as it could increase a martial artist's cultivation faster, it would be a rare treasure. This was the most direct purpose of Xinqiang's visit to North Feng Town. "Guardian Mo, do you have any idea where that group of people is?" Xinqiang asked. When he thought about how he could obtain that terrifying secret technique and increase his cultivation, even Mo Feiyu and Lin Ruoxian wouldn't be able to suppress him. The excitement made him lose his basic judgment of danger. "Of course, we've investigated for a long time. We can confirm that the bandits are in the barren mountains near North Feng Town. We know their approximate location, but without your help, it'll be difficult to stop them. They're too cunning. Mo Yuan nodded. Good. Since that's the case, let's act immediately. When we return, those two brats will probably be dead. Shin Chong stood up and said excitedly, No problem. When Mo Yuan stood up, an imperceptible sneer flashed across his eyes. However, Shin Chong had been thinking about the forbidden technique and didn't notice it at all. In fact, when Shin Chong and Mo Yuan were talking about the bandits, something strange happened in the Chaos Diamond Array. It was something that Lin Yang would never forget. The 4 giant beasts were eaten by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao turned into a terrifying infernal demon dragon and circled in the Chaos Diamond Array as if he was absorbing nutrients. Pooh, this taste is really bad. The terrifying infernal demon dragon spat out all the filthy things, as if it wasn't satisfied with the taste of the 4 beasts. Lin Yang. Lin Yang was shocked when he heard the terrifying giant beast call his name. He was afraid that he would be swallowed by this guy. What's there to be afraid of? With your physique, you're not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Give me all the spiritual stones you have. Ling Xiao felt that after he swallowed the 4 beasts, the power in his body vibrated, and there seemed to be signs of a breakthrough. Originally, Mo Yuan wanted to use these beasts to kill him, but he didn't expect him to eat them directly. Chapter 2203. Okay. At this time, Lin Yang would agree to anything Ling Xiao asked, not to mention the spirit stones on him. Even if it was all of his treasures, he would give them all to Ling Xiao, because he did not want to die. Ling Xiao's strength left a terrifying impression on him. He did not dare to have any thoughts of resisting. As expected of a disciple of the Lin family, you have quite a lot of spiritual stones. It should be enough. Ling Xiao smiled and swallowed the 100,000 low-grade spiritual stones and 1,000 mid-grade spiritual stones. Breaking through had to be extravagant. It was impossible to not be willing to invest. To put it simply, a breakthrough in one's cultivation was like filling up one lake after another. The thing that filled up the lake was naturally energy. As long as the lake was filled up with energy, with the help of certain opportunities, a larger lake or even an ocean could be opened. This process continued. Energy was always the most important thing. Roar! After swallowing all the spiritual stones, the infernal demon dragon let out a loud dragon roar. Half-step Yin-Yang realm, level 10 strength. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao's breakthrough did not stop. This time, the energy from swallowing the 4 beasts was terrifying. After breaking through, the huge lake was filled up with energy again. Ling Xiao knew that it was time for him to use the Yin-Yang Hell Pill. Others only needed 1 Yin-Yang Hell Pill to break through to the Yin-Yang realm. However, a reincarnation realm martial artist needed at least 2. As for Ling Xiao, he needed 10 to have a chance of breaking through. However, after breaking through, his strength also increased tenfold. Compared to other martial artists, he was much stronger. Seeing Ling Xiao casually swallow the precious Yin-Yang Hell Pills, and 10 of them at once, Lin Yang was truly envious and shocked. Even in the 3 major families of the 8 Immortal City, the Yin-Yang Hell Pill was extremely rare. He needed one now, but he could not get it. It was difficult to buy it, even if he had money. Do you want it? Ling Xiao's huge dragon head looked down at Lin Yang and asked with a smile. Yes. Lin Yang swallowed his saliva and said, as long as he had the Yin-Yang Hell Pill, he believed that he could break through to the Yin-Yang realm. You are nobody to me. Why should I give it to you? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. I, Lin Yang, owe my life to you. If I can get the Yin-Yang Hell Pill from you, I swear that I will be loyal to you and never betray you. Lin Yang raised his hand and swore. All right, I will trust you this time. Ling Xiao gave 1 Yin-Yang Hell Pill to Lin Yang. For him, Lin Yang was a necessary friend. As long as he could gain Lin Yang's loyalty, he would have more power in the 8 Immortals County. Thank you. Lin Yang swallowed the pill and sat down cross-legged to cultivate. At this time, Ling Xiao did not have the time to pay attention to him, because Ling Xiao could clearly feel that the yin-yang hell pill's medicinal effects had already begun. When this kind of pill took effect, there would be a kind of awe-inspiring feeling, as if the water of the underworld river had directly poured into the meridians, and there would be injuries to the internal meridians. But these were things that had to be experienced. As the saying goes, one cannot see a rainbow without experiencing a storm. To Ling Xiao, this little bit of pain was nothing. A terrifying gate of hell appeared above his head. It was the gate of hell of the first level, hell of tongue ripping. This gate of hell was 10 times bigger than the one above Lin Yang's head. Not only that, but the terrifying aura was also much stronger. Ling Xiao could feel that everything in hell seemed to have become stronger. It was much stronger than before the first transition. In that case, his 18 hell talismans and hell sword technique would probably be more powerful. This was a really good harvest. With the first experience, it was very easy for Ling Xiao to break through to the yin-yang realm for the second time. The temptation and pain in the gate of hell did not affect him at all. Instead, it strengthened his soul power. Keep. The infernal demon dragon's huge mouth let out a muffled voice. The gate of hell was also sucked in. Ling Xiao closed his eyes and felt his current cultivation base. He was really a little excited. After entering the reincarnation realm, he had cultivated all the way to the yin-yang realm. Although it did not seem long, it was very dangerous. If he was unlucky, he might have died in Yuhua town. The path of entering the reincarnation realm was really not easy. But every time he broke through, he would discover the great benefits of entering the reincarnation realm. He could confirm that at the same cultivation level, a first transition martial artist was at least twice as strong as an ordinary martial artist. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was even stronger, probably around 10 times stronger. Martial artists of the same cultivation level were not even worth mentioning in front of him. Shinchong, you probably didn't expect that after spending so much effort to trap me in this origin Vajra formation. Not only did you not kill me, you even helped me break through to the yin-yang realm. And the Mo family, what should I do after what you've done to me? Ling Xiao's huge dragon mouth revealed a cold smile. I might as well exterminate the Mo family. Mo Feiyu will definitely be very surprised. Ling Xiao did not want to provoke anyone, but Mo Feiyu had tried to kill him time and time again. The people of the Mo family had even tried to deal with him and turn him into a delicacy in the belly of a demonic beast. Not only that, but once he and Lin Yang died, the people of Yuhua town would also not be able to escape death. Did they really want Ling Xiao to sympathize with such sinister intentions? Of course, that was impossible. He turned his head and glanced at Lin Yang. That fellow should still have some time before he broke through. He could take advantage of this time to exterminate the Mo family. With that thought, he immediately rushed out of the origin Vajra formation that his master, Yuan Venerate, had broken through. His master, Yuan Venerate, could help him even more now because he had the soul-nurturing gem. When the infernal demon dragon tore through the origin Vajra formation, Mo Yuan and Shinchong had just left and headed to a nearby barren mountain. However, the Mo family still had many experts. These were all Mo Feiyu's family members. Roar! The infernal demon dragon let out a roar, and terrifying black flames sprayed on the Mo family's courtyard and the guardian residence. In an instant, there were continuous screams. An absolute doomsday had begun in North Peak Town's Mo family. All of this was because of Mo Feiyu's desire to kill Ling Xiao, as well as the Mo family's desire to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao never killed innocent people. However, if someone wanted to kill him, he naturally would not sympathize with them. As the flames burned, Ling Xiao suddenly saw a few strange fellows escape from the black flames. They should have been in the basement of the guardian residence. These people actually had blood-red skull marks on their wrists. Demon Shadow Sect, Bloody Cave Stronghold. Chapter 2204. Haha, interesting. Looks like I killed the right person. I didn't expect the MO family to be in cahoots with the Devil's Shadow Sect. This is really an accident. Ling Xiao found it unbelievable that the family of one of the 8 immortals on the 8 Immortals Mountain was from the Devil's Shadow Sect. As for whether Mo Feiyu had anything to do with this, Ling Xiao had no idea. However, since he had encountered the Devil's Shadow Sect, he naturally had to eliminate them. Seeing those fellows escape from the flames, Ling Xiao knew that their strength was not to be underestimated. The people from the Devil's Shadow Sect did have some skills. Lin Yang, before I come back, destroy the Mo family. If I see anyone alive when I come back, you don't need to live anymore. Ling Xiao instructed Lin Yang before he returned to his original form and chased after the people from the Devil's Shadow Sect. Those people headed straight for the Barren Mountain. Obviously, there should be another lair in the nearby Barren Mountain. After all, the Defender's Mansion was in the town, so there were some shady things that they could not do. Ling Xiao did not take action along the way. Instead, he quietly followed them and let them help him find the lair of the Bloody Cave Stronghold. Then he killed them one by one. Boy, what are you doing? Just as Ling Xiao was about to destroy the corpses and head into the Bloody Cave Stronghold, a voice suddenly sounded. Ling Xiao looked up and saw a middle-aged man in his 40s. His cultivation was at the early stage of the first level of the Yin-Yang realm. In the past, Ling Xiao might have thought that this cultivation was very strong, but now it was nothing in his eyes. Old Third Mo looked at the boy in front of him and was surprised. The lair of the Bloody Cave Stronghold was very secretive. Usually, only the people from the Bloody Cave Stronghold knew about it. How did this boy find out? Forget it. No matter how he found out, I'll kill him first. Old Third Mo received Mo Yuan's order to kill anyone who came within 1 mile of the Barren Mountain, except for his own people. Boy, you're unlucky to have met me, Old Third Mo. I'll let you die a painful death. He smiled coldly and released his aura. The martial soul phantom behind him was released. It was actually a blood-red sparrow. Although the martial soul was small, the killing intent it released was not weak at all. However, Old Third Mo was still surprised. The moment he released his terrifying aura, the young man in front of him had already moved. In his eyes, the young man turned into an afterimage and rushed over. What? Old Third Mo was shocked. This young man was indeed strange. He didn't expect his body movement to be so good. Could he be the son of some aristocratic family? Thinking of this, Old Third Mo's expression became even more serious. In his opinion, even a disciple of a large clan would not have any advantage against a martial artist at the first level of hell of the Yin-Yang realm. Let's capture. Right now, the Spectre sect was in need of new members. This kid was so young, but his movement technique was so good. Perhaps he could become a good talent in the Spectre sect. However, he had just formed this thought, and before he had time to do anything about it. However, the afterimage in his eyes had disappeared. The boy disappeared in front of him. Frightened, he turned his head to look around. Nothing. He was nowhere. He was terrified. He finally understood that he might have encountered trouble he could not afford to offend. Just as this thought appeared in his mind, he saw a hand. Her fair but powerful hand grabbed him by the neck. An unknown drug was stuffed into his mouth. "Spare me! Young hero, spare me!" Old Third Mo shouted in horror, but because his neck was being strangled, his voice was a little distorted and sounded very funny. Ling Xiao threw Old Third Mo to the ground and said with a faint smile, "You wanted to kill me?" No. Why would I kill you? I'm Old Third Mo of the Mo clan. I'm here to find the bandits of the Blood Cave Stronghold. Old Third Mo had used the same excuse to deceive many experts who had mistakenly entered this place. He had succeeded almost every time. This time, he planned to use the same trick. He guessed that the young man in front of him was the son of a big force. He was traveling and came here by coincidence. As long as he dealt with it well, he could at least save his life. He did not know that Ling Xiao wanted to kill him the moment he heard that he was from the Mo clan. There was no good in the Mo clan. Not only did they try to kill him, but they were also the pawns of the Devil's Shadow sect. He wanted to kill Old Third Mo, but he gave up after thinking about it. Old Third Mo was still useful. Although he had found the lair of the Blood Cave stronghold, he had no idea how to get in. If Old Third Mo led the way, it would be much more convenient. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Ling Xiao sneered at Old Third Mo. "But you don't have to act in front of me. The Mo clan and the bandits of the Blood Cave stronghold should be the pawns of the Devil's Shadow sect, right?" No. Old Third Mo did not dare to admit it. If others knew that the Mo clan was the pawns of the Devil's Shadow sect, even if the young man in front of him did not kill him, the 8 Immortals Mountain would not forgive them. "You still won't admit it? Let me tell you the truth. My name is Ling Xiao. I am one of the 3 people from the 8 Immortals Mountain on a mission. However, the Mo clan seemed to want my life, but unfortunately they did not succeed." Ling Xiao sneered. "The Mo clan's courtyard has been raided by me, and I have also killed all the bandits of the Blood Cave stronghold. Do you think you can fool me with such lies?" What? Old Third Mo's heart was filled with shock. When he was dealing with Ling Xiao, he was not present. Instead, he was here guarding the lair. However, he had heard about Ling Xiao. Mo Yuan had told him when he passed by. What was going on? The Chaos Diamond Array could not trap Ling Xiao? For beasts could not kill Ling Xiao? This was not good. "Are you thinking of sending a message to Mo Yuan?" Ling Xiao sneered. "I advise you not to think too much. Do you know what the elixir I just gave you is?" "What?" Old Third Mo shuddered. He had been worried about what the elixir was, and the young man had brought it up. "That is called the Soul Extinguishing Elixir. It is a poisonous elixir controlled by soul force. As long as it enters your body, I want you to be in so much pain that you wish you were dead." Ling Xiao said indifferently. Old Third Mo did not seem to believe it. Ling Xiao chuckled. "You don't seem to believe it? Then I will let you try the power of the soul extinguishing elixir." After saying that, he moved his mind. Old Third Mo suddenly screamed crazily. It was as if his body was being bitten by countless ants. The pain made him want to die. Stop. I will listen to you. I will listen to everything you say." Chapter 2205. Old Third Mo hated Ling Xiao to the core. If he had the chance to cure himself, he would definitely make Ling Xiao suffer a fate worse than death. But now he had to endure it. He could not show any dissatisfaction in front of Ling Xiao. Otherwise, it would not be Ling Xiao who would be dead, but him. "Very good. I can see that you're a tactful guy." Ling Xiao said indifferently. "How many Yin Yang realm experts are there in your Bloody Cave stronghold? What are they doing?" "Yes." Old Third Mo was about to answer, but was interrupted by Ling Xiao. "You'd better not lie. Your lies can't escape my eyes." Old Third Mo felt even more uncertain when he saw Ling Xiao's cold smile. He originally wanted to tell a few lies to fool Ling Xiao, but after hearing Ling Xiao's words, he did not dare to lie anymore. "Lie if you want to die." Ling Xiao's eyes were like those of an eagle as he stared at Old Third Mo. Old Third Mo subconsciously told the truth. For this kind of person, he would betray even the people closest to him for his own life. There are a total of 3 Yin Yang realm martial artists. Patriarch Mo Yuan is at the early stage of Yin Yang realm's 2nd level of hell. Second brother Mo is at the peak of Yin Yang realm's 1st level of hell. The 3rd head of the Bloody Cave stronghold is at the late stage of Yin Yang realm's 1st level of hell. In addition, that idiot Shinchong was tricked into the Bloody Cave stronghold. He should have already sworn to join our demon shadow sect. So to be exact, there are 4 people. Old Third Mo answered. Very good. You're not lying. Ling Xiao could confirm that Old Third Mo was not lying. His opponents were stronger than he had imagined. But so what? He had already broken through to the Yin-Yang realm and was many times stronger than before. Even if these people worked together, they would not be his match. It would be great if Shen Chong really joined the Demon Shadow sect. It would give him a reason to get rid of Shen Chong. This way, if the sect asked him, he would be able to answer. Not only was there no crime in killing the evildoers of the Shadow Devil sect, there was even merit. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao looked at Old Third Mo and said, "Let's go. Take me to your blood cave, Stronghold's lair. If you are obedient, I can give you the antidote. After all, you are a member of the Mo clan. I still want to use you guys to make a deal with Mo Feiyu." When Old Third Mo heard Ling Xiao's words, he naturally did not dare to resist. His thinking was simple. No matter how strong Ling Xiao was, he would definitely die when faced with Mo Yuan, second brother Mo, the third master of Bloody Cave Stronghold, and Shin Chong's joint attack. As long as Ling Xiao was dead, he would be able to find the antidote from this guy. Moreover, the Spectre sect had many experts and capable people. He believed that as long as he continued to be loyal to the Spectre sect, even if he couldn't obtain the antidote, there wouldn't be any problems. The detoxification was only a matter of time. Brat, just you wait. Today, I, Mo Lao-san, have fallen into your hands, but don't be happy too early. This trip to the Blood Cave Stronghold's lair will be the day of your death. Although it took a long time to describe, in reality, Old Third Mo's brain only worked for a moment. Ling Xiao did not care about what he was thinking at all. Ling Xiao knew very well that Old Third Mo would not be honest. However, it did not matter. Once he found the Blood Cave Stronghold's lair, Old Third Mo's death would come. Can we go now? Ling Xiao asked coldly. Of course. My life is now in your hands. What are you worried about? Old Third Mo stood up. He realized that his body no longer hurt. He reckoned that the soul-destroying corpse pill in his body could really be controlled by Ling Xiao. If possible, it was better to capture this brat alive. Since he dared to poison Old Third Mo, he would definitely not let this brat off easily. Old Third Mo walked in front. Ling Xiao followed behind. The two of them walked in the direction of the Blood Cave Stronghold's lair. To be honest, Ling Xiao was really glad that he caught Old Third Mo, otherwise it would be really difficult to find the Blood Cave Stronghold's lair. This barren mountain was rugged with strange rocks and dense forests. There were many caves. If no one led the way, it would take at least a few days to find the exact location of the Blood Cave Stronghold's lair. Ling Xiao did not have that much time to waste. Young hero, we're here. Do you see the waterfall in front? Behind the waterfall is our second lair in Beifeng Town. It's specially used to raise blood pigs. Old Third Mo suddenly stopped and pointed at a waterfall not far away. Blood pigs. Ling Xiao was stunned. This term was new. He had never heard of it before. Oh, it's the people who provide us with blood. Most of these people are quite strong. We raise them for us to suck their blood. Old Third Mo answered. Hearing Old Third Mo's words, Ling Xiao directly opened his Tai Chi eye. Through the waterfall, he saw that there was indeed a cave behind it. The interior had been redesigned. Although it was only a cave, its level of luxury was not inferior to any luxurious mansions. The people of the Shadow Devil sect are really extravagant. Ling Xiao sneered. Young hero, you must be joking. We're not considered members of the Shadow Devil sect yet. We're only in the periphery. Old Third Mo shook his head and said, So young hero, please spare my life. At most, we'll sever our relationship with the Shadow Devil sect. Periphery? What do you mean? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Let me put it this way. The Shadow Devil sect actually has very few people. There's only a sect master and 10 elders. They don't have a fixed sect at all. I even suspect that their sect master is a big shot from another force. The sect master directly controls the 10 elders, and the 10 elders will develop their own subordinates. In the process of developing their subordinates, they will use various reasons to do so. For example, they will take in disciples, or let them become deacons in the Shadow Devil sect, or money or status. They will also use these people's weaknesses to threaten them. In short, there are many reasons, but they're all fake. Other than the sect master and the 10 elders, the rest of the Shadow Devil sect are chess pieces that can be abandoned at any time. You know so clearly, and you're still willing to be their periphery. Ling Xiao asked coldly. It's still driven by benefits. The Shadow Devil sect has built the best future for everyone, capturing the desire in everyone's heart. Moreover, the way to rise is very clear. As long as we do well, we can be promoted all the way from the periphery to the town deacon, county deacon, provincial deacon, chief deacon of a country, and so on. In the end, we can even become an elder and replace the other elders. Old Third, Mo explained. Hearing this, Ling Xiao couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This Shadow Devil sect is really powerful. They have such a wide range and so much harm. Ling Xiao originally thought that they were only operating in the 8 Immortals County. He didn't expect that the entire Black Tortoise continent could be the Shadow Devil sect's nest. They continued to develop their subordinates, spreading like a virus, and the sect master and elders basically never showed up personally. They were extremely cunning. Have you heard of someone called Mo Fingzi? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Chapter 2206. Mo Fingzi? Oh, the deacon of Yuhua Town, right? Of course I know him. We've even met before. Old Third Mo thought for a while and said, but this guy has disappeared for a long time. The Devil's Shadow sect felt that something might have happened to him, so they cut off all contact with him. That's good. Ling Xiao suddenly let out a sigh of relief. If Deacon Mo Fingzi was an insignificant deacon of the Devil's Shadow sect, then the Devil's Shadow sect might not avenge him. Immediately he became nervous again. The Devil's Shadow sect was so powerful that there might be people from the Devil's Shadow sect in the 8 Immortal Mountain. He had to be more careful in the future. Just as he was thinking, Old Third Mo suddenly ran towards the waterfall. Ling Xiao knew what he was going to do, but he did not stop him. This Old Third Mo was now under his control. If he wanted him to die, then he wouldn't live to see the end of the night. I once said that as long as you listen to me obediently, you won't die. But what a pity. It seems like you really like to court death. With a thought, the 3-corpse soul-extinguishing pill suddenly exploded in Old Third Mo's body. Old Third Mo died on the spot, bleeding from all 7 orifices. Before he died, he really regretted not being obedient. If he had been obedient, he wouldn't have been so unlucky. Unfortunately, it was useless for him to regret. Ling Xiao extracted the demonic seed from Old Third Mo's body and burned it. Then he passed through the waterfall and stepped into the lair of the Bloody Cave Stronghold's bandits. Perhaps it was because this place was very hidden, but he didn't see a single guard. Looking inside, he could only see some bandits gulping down wine and eating large chunks of meat. They were having a good time. However, the people that Old Third Mo mentioned were nowhere to be seen. He stood there thinking for a while and felt that something was wrong. But since he was already here, even if it was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, he had to give it a try. As the saying goes, the strong are bold. He, who had just broken through, really wanted to test how much damage he could cause with his current cultivation. Old Third Mo was too weak and was simply not enough. That Mo Yuan, on the other hand, was interesting. He could be a sparring partner for him to hone his martial skills and strengthen his cultivation foundation. When Ling Xiao stepped into the cave, he suddenly discovered that the people who were originally drinking and eating meat were all looking at him with ferocious expressions. The sharp blades in their hands showed that they had been waiting here for a long time. It's impossible for Mo Yuan to know that I'm still alive, so there are only two possibilities. First, old third Mo must have sent a message to Mo Yuan, but that was unlikely. I was very confident in my Tai Chi eye. The second possibility is closer to the answer. That is, there is something strange about the waterfall. The moment he crossed the waterfall, the people inside knew that there was an intruder. As he thought of this, Ling Xiao saw Mo Yuan, second brother Mo, the third head of Bloody Cave Stockade, and Shin Chong walking out together. Brat, you're still alive? Seeing Ling Xiao, Shin Chong was stunned for a moment. Obviously, he was very surprised. Perhaps the waterfall's effect was only to know that there was an intruder, but not who it was. Who is he? Mo Yuan asked. He's Ling Xiao. Shin Chong replied. Didn't you say that the origin Vajra formation was absolutely indestructible? How come he still came out alive? Mo Yuan was also very surprised. When he trapped Ling Xiao and Lin Yang, he didn't pay much attention to them. It was just a brat. If he was trapped, so be it. He didn't even bother to know what they looked like. But now he had to face Ling Xiao seriously. 3 demonic beasts at half-step yin-yang realm, level 10, and an early-stage demonic beast at level 1 hell were all killed by you? No, that's impossible. You must have just escaped. You know formations, don't you? Mo Yuan stared at Ling Xiao and asked. Ling Xiao didn't look at him. Instead, he looked at Shin Chong and said, the genius of the Shun family, a disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain, has fallen so low that you're willing to join a shameful organization like the Devil's Shadow Sect. Shut up. A wise man submits to circumstances. Shin Chong shouted angrily at Ling Xiao. What do you know? As soon as I joined the Devil's Shadow Sect, I received the support of Deacon Mo Yuan. Now, my cultivation has broken through to the late stage of level 1 hell. Do you know how big of an improvement this is for me? You don't understand at all, you insignificant ant. After hearing Shin Chong's words, Ling Xiao roughly understood why the Devil's Shadow Sect could brainwash these martial artists. Most martial artists cultivated for nothing more than cultivation, money, and status. The Devil's Shadow Sect could give them all. For example, Shin Chong wanted to improve his cultivation wholeheartedly. However, in recent years, his cultivation had been stagnant at the early stage of level 1 hell, unable to improve. When he was anxious, someone would come to help him and let him taste the benefits of improving his cultivation. How could he not be brainwashed? People like Shin Chong were originally people with weak willpower. You can't even resist a little temptation. You're really a piece of trash. Ling Xiao looked disdainfully at Shin Chong and said, I wonder what you'll do if I capture you alive and send you back to the sect. Ha 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 ha, kid, you're about to die, but you're still so arrogant? How strong can your cultivation be? We have hundreds of people here. Why don't you just join the Devil's Shadow Sect? Anyway, there's no point in you joining the 8 Immortal Mountain. Someone will be scheming behind your back, so you won't be able to concentrate on cultivating. If you join the Devil's Shadow Sect, we can greatly improve your cultivation. We can also guarantee that no one will dare to bully you. We have brothers and sisters all over the Black Tortoise continent. Mo Yuan's brainwashing soon began. Ling Xiao had to admit that some of what he said was true. If Ling Xiao joined the Devil's Shadow Sect now, his cultivation speed would definitely be faster than in the 8 Immortal Mountain. However, Ling Xiao knew very well that this was just a small benefit on the surface. Ling Xiao believed that the Devil's Shadow Sect's way of operating was to exploit each level. In the end, the one who benefited the most would be the sect master of the Devil's Shadow Sect, the big shot behind him. The lowest level members of the Devil's Shadow Sect would probably only be exploited. All right, put away your boring words. Since I dared to come here alone, I'm not afraid of you guys joining hands. Ling Xiao looked coldly at Mo Yuan and said, Guard Mo, this kid is a stone in a latrine pit. He's smelly and hard. It's impossible to win him over. Just kill him. Shen Chong shouted from the side. That's true. This is Fei Yu's order. It's not appropriate to not kill him. Oh right, Shin Chong, you just joined the Devil Shadow sect. Let's make a declaration first. I'll leave this Ling Xiao to you, okay? Mo Yuan looked at Shin Chong and said, Don't worry, leave it to me. Chapter 2207. You're finally showing your true colors? Fine. I'll get rid of a traitor like you on behalf of the sect today. Looking at Shin Chong's ferocious face, Ling Xiao smiled coldly. Shin Chong wanted to kill Ling Xiao, but Ling Xiao wanted to kill Shin Chong too. Now that he had a better reason to kill Shin Chong, he wasn't afraid even if the Shen family blamed him. You guys can cheer for young hero Shen. Second brother, third leader, let's continue drinking and discuss what to do next. And Mo Yuan didn't take Ling Xiao seriously at all. He didn't believe that Ling Xiao had killed the four beasts. He only thought that Ling Xiao was an array expert, so he broke the origin diamond array and found this place. As for third brother Mo Yuan didn't expect that Ling Xiao had already killed him and destroyed his corpse. Ling Xiao, when you killed my brother, I couldn't do anything to you with the Lin Ruoxian protecting you. But today, who can save you? Shen Chong looked at Ling Xiao, and his storm martial soul started to howl behind him. After killing Ling Xiao, he naturally wouldn't let Lin Yang go. He just needed to make up a story. Anyway, he had Mo Yuan to testify. At that time, Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the ocean. The Lin family would only think that Ling Xiao had killed Lin Yang and would wipe Yuhua town off the map. Thinking of this, Shin Chong felt excited and his body couldn't help but tremble. He hated Ling Xiao to the core, so much so that he could betray his sect and work with the Devil Shadow sect. Ling Xiao looked at Shin Chong indifferently, the corner of his mouth raised into a contemptuous sneer. He didn't know what Shin Chong was thinking, but he was probably planning how to kill him in his heart. What a pitiful guy. He didn't know how powerful he was now. Ling Xiao's aura was slowly released from his body, but it was only released to the half-step yin-yang realm level 10. With this cultivation, it was more than enough to kill Shin Chong. Firstly, he did this to hone his own combat skills. Secondly, he did this to make Mo Yuan and the others underestimate him. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if they all swarmed him. Level 10? No wonder you're so confident and dare to come with me on a mission. It's because your cultivation has increased. But do you really think you can defeat me with this cultivation? Shen Chong was stunned for a moment, then he laughed. The speed at which Ling Xiao's cultivation rose had indeed surprised him, but it was also because of this that he had to kill Ling Xiao. Otherwise, it would be even more difficult to deal with him in the future. I will tell you, no matter how strong a half-step yin-yang realm cultivator is, it is only the power of the Grotto Heaven realm. It cannot be compared to a true yin-yang realm martial artist. The storm behind Shin Chong became even more ferocious and had already completely enveloped his body. You talk a lot of nonsense. Are you going to kill me or not? Ling Xiao rubbed his ears and said impatiently, I know you're powerful. You're the best in the world and no one can defeat you. But you don't have to show off. You want to die? Fine. Shin Chong was completely enraged by Ling Xiao's indifferent attitude. He was much stronger than Ling Xiao in the past. Now that he had broken through, he was much stronger than Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao dared to ignore him. How could he tolerate that? Tempest Eagle. Shin Chong's first move was the strongest martial skill he could execute at the moment. His body was wrapped in the wind, like a huge eagle descending from the sky and grabbing at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was like a weak rabbit in front of the huge eagle. He had no strength to resist. As I expected, although this blood-sucking secret skill can quickly increase one's cultivation, it will cause one's true qi to become chaotic and impure. The foundation will be very unstable. Even if one's cultivation has broken through, They will be far weaker than warriors of the same realm. Seeing Shen Chang's attack, Ling Xiao did not have any intention of attacking. He was very interested in the Spectre sect and had some ideas about the secret skill of the Spectre sect. If there were no side effects or negative effects, it was not impossible to get the secret skill. However, Shin Chang's first battle made him realize the huge flaw of the secret skill. He did not care what kind of sorcery it was, but the flaw was too serious. It might be very good in the short term, but in the long run it would be harmful. However, he still needed to observe it. Shen Chong should have just learned this secret skill. There would be many flaws in the process of using it. It would be good for him to take this opportunity to study it. Perhaps with a little modification, he could create a new set of martial arts cultivation method. He did not move at all, as if he was scared silly. Mo Yuan and the others who were drinking on the other side laughed. The disciples of the Eight Immortals Mountain are indeed disciples of the Eight Immortals Mountain. Shen Chang's talent is better than ours. Fortunately, he joined the Spectre sect. Otherwise, he would be a difficult opponent. Mo Lao took a bite of meat and said with a smile, "That's right. With this Tempest Eagle, that kid called Ling Xiao should be dead for sure. After killing him, this mission will be considered completed. Next, what we need to do is to continue expanding and let the light of the Spectre sect shine on the entire Black Tortoise continent." Mo Yuan also laughed excitedly. He was fantasizing about a future full of hope. As long as he could develop enough subordinates, he would be able to obtain more benefits from the hands of the higher-ups, not only money and power, but also the continuous improvement of his cultivation. He was not willing to stay as the guard of this small North Peak town. He wanted to be a higher official and earn more money. He also wanted the Mo family to become one of the top families in the Black Tortoise continent. No one else could help him achieve this ambition. Only the Spectre sect could do it. On the battlefield, Ling Xiao looked coldly at Shin Chong. When Shen Chong's attack was less than a foot away from him, his figure suddenly retreated like a shooting star across the night sky. In an instant, the distance between them was more than 10 meters. In fact, Shin Chong's speed was not slow, especially after activating the Tempest Martial Soul. His speed was much faster than ordinary martial artists of the same cultivation. However, it was a pity that he met Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was the absolute nemesis of almost all speed-type martial artists. Even if he did not use the movement techniques that he was good at, he could still easily dodge his opponent's attack with the moonlight meteor steps that he had just mastered. Shen Chong's attack landed heavily on the ground, causing the cave to shake and a deep hole to appear in ground. He looked at Ling Xiao, who was 10 meters away, in shock. He could not believe his eyes. He was full of confidence in his attack just now, but in the end he actually hit empty air. How was this possible? Your aim doesn't seem to be good. Ling Xiao looked at Shin Chong with contempt and laughed. Moonlight meteor steps. You've only joined the sect for 3 days. How could you have learned the moonlight meteor steps? How did you learn it? Chapter 2208. Shen Chong could not understand. This moon-treading meteor steps was one of the most difficult low-level jade, grade, martial skills in the sect. Even Mo Feiyu had to spend a whole year to reach the great perfection stage. But Ling Xiao had mastered it so well in just 3 days. Was he still human? Shen Chong's heart was filled with terror. No, this must be a joke. Why would I be afraid of a useless martial artist from a small town? His movement technique was good, but this was a cave with limited space. With so many bandits helping him, it was easy to shrink the space. Ling Xiao must have relied on his movement technique, because his attack was not as good as his. That way, he would still have the upper hand. It seems that the disciples of the Eight Immortal Mountain are not bad. Ling Xiao has just joined the sect, and he already knows such a powerful movement technique. I wonder if there are any disciples from the Eight Immortal Mountain in the Spectre sect who can get us some good martial arts. Mo Yuan was unhappy when he saw that Ling Xiao had dodged Xin Chong's attack. He stood up and shouted, "Surround him. Don't give him any space to dodge. I don't believe that this rat can escape." "Ha ha ha. Big brother, your description is really accurate. That kid is really like a rat. He only knows how to dodge." Mo Laowa laughed loudly, but soon he could not laugh anymore. Ling Xiao began to kill. Although the moon-stepping meteor steps was a pure movement technique, when used by Ling Xiao, coupled with his terrifying mystic world physique, none of the bandits who came into contact with him could survive. After all, these bandits' cultivation was relatively low. None of them had reached the yin-yang realm. To Ling Xiao, they were easy targets to kill. Starlight flashed, and the cold moon shone. There were hundreds of bandits in the cave, and dozens of them died in an instant. Every time he killed someone, Ling Xiao still had the time to extract the demon seed from their bodies. Xin Chong was about to hit him every time, but he realized that Ling Xiao had already disappeared. "Xin Chong, are you doing this on purpose? That kid is killing our people. Why aren't you killing him?" Mo Yuan was furious. He roared madly. In his opinion, it wasn't that Ling Xiao was too powerful, but that Xin Chong was deliberately creating opportunities for Ling Xiao. This thought infuriated him to no end. "Second brother, third head, the two of you, go and kill that brat Xin Chong for me." This guy said that he wanted to join the Devil's Shadow sect, and even got some benefits. But now he's flirting with that Ling Xiao. This is really pissing me off. Mo Yuan ordered. Yes. Mo Laowa and the third master of the Bloody Cave stronghold rushed towards Xin Chong. Mo Yuan charged towards Ling Xiao. He believed that as long as he personally took action, Ling Xiao would have no chance of escaping. This brat must die. In mid-air, Mo Yuan saw Ling Xiao suddenly smile at him. "Guardian Mo, do you know what's the situation in the Mo clan's courtyard?" Ling Xiao suddenly asked. While he was asking, Mo Laowa and the third master of the Bloody Cave stronghold had already surrounded Xin Chong and started fighting. What? Mo Yuan was stunned for a moment. He suddenly had a very bad premonition. Unfortunately, it was this momentary daze that caused Ling Xiao to disappear from his sight. He hurriedly prepared his defense, afraid that Ling Xiao would sneak over and attack. But at this moment, 3 screams were heard almost at the same time. When Mo Yuan opened his eyes, he only saw a dazzling starlight. Then 3 corpses fell to the ground at the same time. Xin Chong, Mo Laowa, and the third master of the Bloody Cave stronghold had their throats pierced by a sword at the same time. All 3 of them had been killed. Ling Xiao held the iron sword in his hand and released the aura of a yin-yang realm warrior. At this moment, Mo Yuan finally understood. Ling Xiao had been pretending to be weak all this time. The reason why this brat pretended to have a low cultivation level was so that he could kill those 3 people in one go. With such a cunning mind, was he really just a young man? Mo Yuan glared at Ling Xiao fiercely and could not believe his eyes. Everything had happened so suddenly that he still couldn't wrap his head around it. The remaining bandits of the Bloody Cave stronghold, who had been slaughtered, were all trembling madly. Only now did they understand that this youth who seemed to be suppressed by Xin Chong was actually such a terrifying person. Run! No one knew who shouted, but the bandits all started to flee outside. But how could Ling Xiao let them escape? He could not let anyone know that he had killed Xin Chong here. So these people had to die. As for the matter of Xin Chong joining the Demon Shadow sect, he did not need to find any witnesses to prove it. Xin Chong already had a demon seed in his body. This was the best evidence, and no one could deny it. 1 sword, 3 lives. Brat, we really underestimated you. Mo Yuan looked coldly at Ling Xiao. Anger, shock, confusion, all kinds of complicated emotions were brewing in his body. He wanted to attack and kill Ling Xiao immediately. But when he thought of how Ling Xiao had killed Xin Chong, Mo Laowa, and the third head of the Bloody Cave stronghold, He did not dare to be so impulsive. This brat is not easy to deal with. I have to be careful. He secretly warned himself. It's okay. I'm used to being underestimated. Ling Xiao said calmly, after killing them, it's your turn. But don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. To prevent Mo Feiyu from attacking Yuhua Town, I have to capture you alive until I kill Mo Feiyu. Brat, don't be too proud. You might have a chance of winning if we fight to the death. But you want to capture me alive? Then you're dead meat. Mo Yuan was overjoyed. Ling Xiao, this idiot, actually wanted to capture him alive. This meant that he could not attack with all his strength. But he could attack with all his strength without any scruples. This way he would have the advantage. Is that so? You were also so confident when you trapped me in the origin Vajra formation. Unfortunately, I didn't die, but your Mo clan was destroyed by me. Ling Xiao said contemptuously, you and your son Mo Feiyu have made an unforgivable mistake, which is to offend me. I'm a cruel and merciless person who will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. You really killed the people of the Mo clan? Previously, Mo Yuan did not believe what Ling Xiao said. He thought that Ling Xiao deliberately made up a lie to distract him. But at this moment, Ling Xiao did not have to do that, but he still said that. Could it be true? Of course it's true. A cold voice came from outside the cave. It was Lin Yang. Boss Xiao, it's all settled. This is really shocking. The Mo clan, from the adults to the children, are all members of the Devil's Shadow sect. They all have devil seeds in their bodies, and each of them has at least one life. This is a filthy clan. I was a little soft-hearted at first, but after seeing this, I have no sympathy at all. Chapter 2209. Lin Yang glanced casually at Xin Chang's corpse on the ground and was secretly surprised. Boss is indeed powerful. It seems that the 3 corpses on the ground were killed by the same sword. He killed 3 Yin-Yang realm martial artists with 1 strike. This strength is probably at the top of the 8 lower mortals. It shouldn't be wrong to follow him. Lin Yang already had no other way out. He had killed the remaining members of the Mo clan, which meant that he had become Ling Xiao's accomplice. The 2 of them were now in the same boat. Neither of them could stay out of this. Now that Lin Yang had discovered Ling Xiao's strength, his decision to follow Ling Xiao became even more firm. Bastard! Bastard! I'll kill you all! Kill you all! Mo Yuan suddenly went berserk. Perhaps the death of his family had stimulated him, causing his original calmness to vanish. The trace of fear he had for Ling Xiao also disappeared instantly. He only had one thought now, and that was to kill. Kill Ling Xiao. Kill Lin Yang. His aura began to rise crazily, and he became extremely powerful. At this moment, he had no intention of holding back. He only wanted to kill Ling Xiao with his life. This is more interesting. Otherwise, you really don't deserve to be my opponent. Seeing Mo Yuan's performance, Ling Xiao was excited. Whether it was Shen Chong's second brother Mo, or the 3rd head of the Bloody Cave stronghold, none of them could make him use his full strength. He didn't even use 60% of his strength. This Mo Yuan could probably make him use 80% of his strength. In this world, no one could make him use 100% of his strength. Even before reincarnating, when he had turned into a demon, he had kept his secret and retained 10% of his strength. He hoped that he would be able to meet such an opponent in the future. That would raise his fighting spirit and make him more excited. Ling Xiao, I've never hated a person so much. You killed my brother and destroyed my family. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. Mo Yuan roared. The armor on his body shattered. His meridians seemed to be bleeding because he had used too much strength. Looks like this guy really wants to go all out. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this. Die Ling Xiao. Jade intermediate grade, martial skill, blood fang. In that instant, Mo Yuan seemed to have transformed into a ferocious beast. The blood-red sparrow martial soul behind him also became extremely strange. It clearly had the body of a bird, but its mouth had sharp fangs. It was the roar of a wild beast. Inside the cave, sand and stones were flying everywhere. It was extremely chaotic, under Mo Yuan's violent killing intent. The air in the cave seemed to be filled with the smell of blood. In the air, Mo Yuan's hands were as sharp as the fangs of a monster. This attack is not bad. It's really strong. It's a pity that your aptitude is too poor. You've only cultivated it to the small success stage. Ling Xiao stood there with a cold smile on his face. Mo Yuan's battle skills were truly very strong. However, it was a pity that his mastery was too poor. Therefore, the power that he could unleash was also very poor. Moonlight Meteor Step. This time, Ling Xiao executed the Moonlight Meteor Step. However, he didn't retreat. Instead, he moved forward. In that instant, his speed increased to the extreme. Without using any martial skills, he only used the Moonlight Meteor Step's speed to punch Mo Yuan's blood-red fangs. After a loud explosion, Ling Xiao stood there motionless, like a god descending from the heavens. Lin Yang's eyes were filled with excitement. Is this Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao's true strength? No wonder Sister Ruoxian personally invited him to join the 8 Immortal Mountain. This person is really too terrifying. Clang! On the other hand, Mo Yuan's huge body was sent flying. He crashed heavily into the cave wall, creating a deep hole. However, Mo Yuan wasn't seriously injured. At this moment, he had already entered a berserk state. In this state, his combat strength had increased tremendously. Moreover, he wouldn't feel pain, let alone think. He didn't know what it meant to be sent flying by Ling Xiao's ordinary punch. He jumped up once again. His eyes were fixed on Ling Xiao, as if he was preparing for an even stronger move. I said before that I will capture you alive. I won't let you die. Ling Xiao beckoned Mo Yuan with his finger and said, Come, let me see what kind of stronger moves you, Devil's Shadow Sect, have. He wanted to know more about the Devil's Shadow Sect. If he only killed Mo Fengzi, perhaps the Devil's Shadow Sect wouldn't have noticed him. However, from today onwards, the Devil's Shadow Sect would definitely not ignore his existence. 2 city guards were killed by him. The Devil's Shadow Sect would definitely treat him as a thorn in their side. Thus, he needed to know more about the Devil's Shadow Sect. Know yourself and know your enemy. Only then can you win 100 battles. This Mo Yuan was just a mere city guard. Yet he knew a mid-tier jade grade martial skill. It seemed that the Devil's Shadow Sect was really generous. The opponents he would encounter in the future would probably be even stronger. The possibility of them using the same martial skill would also be greater. If he knew more now, it would be easier to deal with them in the future. Lin Yang looked at this scene in a daze. He simply couldn't use words to describe his shock. One had to know that Mo Yuan was an early-stage Yin-Yang realm, 2nd level hell. What was going on? Ling Xiao could actually suppress him so easily? That's right. Big Sister Ruoxian said that Ling Xiao was a reincarnation realm martial artist. Every time a reincarnated martial artist's cultivation level increased by 1 level, the increase would be twice that of an ordinary martial artist. However, this wasn't right, even if it was twice as much. Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the early stage Yin-Yang realm, 1st level hell. He still couldn't be Mo Yuan's match. What was going on? Of course, Lin Yang didn't know. Ling Xiao's increase in cultivation by 1 level was 10 times that of a normal martial artist. Moreover, Mo Yuan was far weaker than most Yin-Yang realm martial artists at the 2nd level of the hell. Because his cultivation method was rather strange, his foundation was unstable, and his essence force wasn't pure enough. In fact, it was already not bad for him to be able to display the strength of a Yin-Yang realm, 1st level hell. This was also the reason why Ling Xiao was able to crush him so easily. To Ling Xiao, an opponent like Mo Yuan could only be a sparring partner. Do you know the true power of a mid-jade martial skill? I'll let you see it today. Sensing Mo Yuan's increasing strength, Ling Xiao knew that this might be Mo Yuan's last attack. Since he had obtained all the information he wanted, it was time to defeat this person. He said that he wanted to capture Mo Yuan alive, so he had to defeat Mo Yuan quickly to prevent him from committing suicide. This was a very good hostage. Even if Mo Feiyu was a lunatic, he couldn't possibly not care about his father's life, right? The blood-red glow on Mo Yuan's body became denser and denser. He had almost turned into a strange, blood-red bird. He was completely possessed by the martial soul and became extremely ferocious. However, the power of this attack had also reached its peak. Chapter 2210. On Ling Xiao's side, the metal sword was wrapped in a thick layer of earth element as if it had turned into a heavy rod. The rod was so heavy that it could shatter the ground just by gently placing it on the ground. This was Ling Xiao's second time using the meteor sword technique, but he was obviously more adept at it than the first time. Ling Xiao could feel that when he was using the meteor sword technique, the power of earth in his body was circulating as well. From the ground, energy continued to flow into his strange sword. The shadow in the jade bracelet is made up of earth element. It seems like it's good at earth element attacks. That's why the meteor sword technique is the same. In this way, my meteor sword technique is much more powerful than the average mid-jade martial arts technique. With the power of earth and the power of earth, it's definitely a force to be reckoned with among the mid-jade martial arts techniques. As he thought about it, his hands did not stop moving. The yellow light covered his entire body as if he had become one with the earth. At this moment, Ling Xiao's aura had reached a terrifying level. At this moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into the real Huta God. Other than his appearance, his aura made people respect and fear him. Lin Yang even knelt on one knee as he looked up at Ling Xiao with eyes full of worship and madness. This was a true genius, and this was the person he should follow. Mo Feiyu? Lin Ruoxian? He was not worthy. On the other hand, Mo Yuan could feel the terrifying aura coming from Ling Xiao, but he had lost the ability to think calmly. In his frenzied state, he only wanted to kill Ling Xiao. As long as he could kill Ling Xiao, he did not mind dying. Mo Yuan had turned into a blood-red sparrow, but the sparrow was too big, and there were blood-red fangs in its mouth. Kill! He roared as he charged at Ling Xiao. His entire body was filled with a ferocious aura. Die, 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 you bastard! Soaring blood sparrow. Even now, you still can't tell who's stronger and who's weaker. That's all you've got. Ling Xiao looked at Mo Yuan coldly. The strange sword that was placed vertically on the ground was slowly lifted up, pointing at Mo Yuan. The first style of meteor sword art, fall. Do you know what a true mid-grade jade martial skill is? That's more like it. It was like the roar of the earth. Ling Xiao thrusted out the huge yellow sword in his hand with a loud rumble. He neither dodged nor retreated, and directly collided with Mo Yuan's attack. If he wanted to kill Mo Yuan, Ling Xiao wouldn't do it this way. He would use a more energy-efficient method. However, if he wanted to capture Mo Yuan alive and prevent him from committing suicide, he would have to beat him until he lost the ability to move on his own. Originally, Ling Xiao's meteor sword art had already been cultivated to the great perfection stage, which was much better than his opponent's mid-grade jade grade martial skill. Coupled with the combination of the power of earth and the power of the earth, not to mention a mere Mo Yuan, even an existence stronger than Mo Yuan would not be willing to take this attack head-on. Poor Mo Yuan. His powerful attack couldn't block Ling Xiao's sword light at all. It was as easy as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It was easily torn apart. Ling Xiao's sword light hit Mo Yuan's body accurately and sent him flying. At this moment, Mo Yuan finally came to his senses. He looked at the attack that he had risked his life to release in dismay and despair. It was actually so easily broken by his opponent. He couldn't believe it was real. The strength of the young man in front of him was already beyond his imagination. Impossible. Impossible. This is the powerful mid-grade, jade, grade martial skill that the Spectre sect gave me. Even if it's also a mid-grade, jade, grade martial skill, he can't beat me so easily. Why? Why? This was Mo Yuan's last thought before he fainted. His body was heavily slammed into the wall of the cave. His limbs were hanging there, and his head was also hanging down. Although he didn't die, he had completely lost his ability to move. Ling Xiao used a seal to trap Mo Yuan and threw him into his beast ring. It was originally used to store demonic beasts. He wouldn't die if he was thrown into it. Mo Yuan was an important bargaining chip, so he couldn't die for now. Relying on this bargaining chip, he could negotiate with Mo Feiyu. Mo Feiyu wasn't someone he could deal with now, but that might not be the case in the future. In this battle, Ling Xiao captured Mo Yuan alive without any injuries. Even though Mo Yuan used all his strength and even entered a berserk state, he still couldn't do anything to Ling Xiao. Lin Yang, who was standing at the side, could feel the despair. Unbelievable. Too unbelievable. I'm afraid even Sister Ruoxian didn't expect Ling Xiao to have such terrifying potential when she recruited Ling Xiao into the 8 Immortals Mountain. I really want to show her. Lin Yang stood at the side in shock. Seeing Ling Xiao capture Mo Yuan alive, he was so excited that his whole body was trembling. Lin Yang, go and release those people who are trapped. Our mission this time is complete. We can go back and report. Ling Xiao suddenly turned around and said, Yes, boss. Lin Yang subconsciously treated Ling Xiao as his boss, just like what Qin he did back then. In the beginning, they all looked down on Ling Xiao. Out of helplessness, they pretended to be polite to Ling Xiao. But after seeing Ling Xiao's terrifying strength and generosity, they were finally willing to be his underlings. After Lin Yang left, Ling Xiao began to clean up the battlefield. Mo Yuan, Shen Chong, second brother Mo, third brother Mo, and third brother Mo all had storage rings on them. In total, there were nearly 2 million low-grade spirit stones and 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones in their storage rings. Originally, Ling Xiao didn't have many spirit stones on him, so he put them in the storage rings to use. In addition to the spirit stones, he also found a handwritten book in Mo Yuan's storage ring. On it was written in vampiric demonic art. He looked at it briefly and burned it. This was obviously the so-called mid-grade jade martial art that the Spectre sect used to bewitch martial artists. But in fact, Ling Xiao found that this so-called vampiric demonic art was extremely crude. It should be a crude version of some martial art that evolved from some kind of martial art. It didn't have much meaning. He didn't need it. Ling Xiao was not very satisfied with this matter, but he found a heavy sword in the storage ring of the Blood Cave Stronghold's third boss, which made him very happy. The sword was completely black and probably weighed more than 10,000 pounds. There was no attribute requirement. It was a fine-grade spirit weapon. A weapon of this grade was naturally much better than the iron sword he used before. Chapter 22:11. No matter what, this iron sword had been with Ling Xiao for some time. Now that they were going to part ways, he had to give it a good home. The scenery here was beautiful. It might be a good idea to let it rest here forever. In addition, he also found many low-quality yin-yang elemental energy pills in Shen Chong's storage ring. He looked down on this kind of yin-yang elemental energy pill, but to most of the warriors in the 8 Immortal City, this was still an extremely precious item. There were a total of about 20 pills. Ling Xiao planned to give them to others. Lin Yang, Qin He, and Feng Ru should also give some to them. Lin Yang and Chen, he were both his underlings. As the boss, he couldn't possibly want the horse to run and not feed the horse. This kind of medicinal pill that he looked down on as a gift was more than suitable. That was about all the things in the storage ring. Of course, Ling Zhao's gains this time were more than that. Not only did he kill Xin Chong, who had always wanted to harm him, but he also obtained hundreds of demonic seeds, which were very beneficial to his cultivation. Also, he took in Lin Yang as a subordinate and found out some things about the Phantom Sect. What is this? Just as Ling Xiao was about to burn these corpses and leave the cave, he suddenly found a piece of paper in second Brother Mo's underwear. He took out the paper and began to read what was written on it. It did not matter if he did not read it, but when he read it, he was shocked. There was a lot of content on the paper, but there was only one general meaning, which was that the Phantom Sect would hold a terrifying, blood-sucking sacrifice in the 8 Immortal City. At that time, the entire 8 Immortal City would become hell. Although Ling Xiao did not have any feelings for the 8 Immortal City. In his opinion, every blade of grass and every tree in the Black Tortoise mainland would belong to him, Ling Xiao in the future. If his heavenly empire wanted to occupy the Black Tortoise mainland, he would definitely not allow the Phantom Sect to exist. And the horror of the blood-sucking sacrifice could be seen from the cruelty of the Blood Cave village bandits. Unfortunately, there was no time limit. However, it wouldn't be too early. After all, with the 8 Immortals Mountain and the Heavenly Wind Group, it wouldn't be easy for the Ghost Shadow Sect to sacrifice the 8 Immortal City. Even so, he had to work even harder in his cultivation. Otherwise, he wouldn't be of any help and might even be sucked dry by the Shadow Devil Sect. After all, he had already killed 2 of the Demon Shadow Sect's city guards. The Demon Shadow Sect wouldn't leave him alone. No matter what the reason was, the enmity between him and the Devil Shadow Sect was irreconcilable. Therefore, if the Shadow Devil Sect didn't die, then he would die. Of course, he didn't want to die, so he could only desperately raise his cultivation and destroy the Shadow Devil Sect. While he was thinking about this, Lin Yang had already rescued all the captured cultivators. Most of these martial artists were quite strong, and there were even martial artists at the first level of the Yin Yang realm. Most of them were unaffiliated martial artists without any background. After they were captured by the Demon Shadow Sect, no one came to find them. Ling Xiao rejoiced in his heart. The Ling family of Yuhua Town was relatively weak now. If he could hand these people over to Ling Jiaojiao, the Ling family's strength would increase greatly. They wouldn't even have to fear Yin Yang realm martial artists. Of course, he couldn't guarantee the loyalty of these people for now, so Ling Xiao controlled them with a life and death illusion powder. He first returned to Yuhua Town and handed these people over to Ling Jiaojiao. Ling Xiao also checked on the current situation of Yuhua Town. Yuhua Town's current situation could be said to be thriving. In the past, because the two families opposed each other, there was always internal strife, resulting in all kinds of conflicts. No one focused on the development of the town. Now it was different. The Ling family was the dominant family, and the town was developing very well. The martial artists' cultivation improved very quickly. The Ling family now had 3 Yin Yang realm martial artists. They were Ling Yuhua, Old Hei, and the Elder on duty. Ling Yuhua's cultivation was the strongest, and he was already at the peak of the first level of the hell. Ling Jiaojiao's cultivation had also reached the half-step Yin Yang realm. The only person that Ling Xiao was worried about was Ling Yan. He heard from Ling Jiaojiao that one day, Ling Yan suddenly left a letter and then disappeared. The letter didn't mention what happened, but it shouldn't be a small matter. However, Ling Yan didn't say anything. Even if Ling Xiao wanted to help, he couldn't. He could only pray for Ling Yan in his heart for now. After settling the hundreds of people he brought, Ling Xiao checked the Ling family's defensive formation and used the recently obtained materials to strengthen it. Then he set up a formation outside the entire Yuhua town. It was also a defensive formation, and it had the effect of confusing the enemy. Once someone tried to harm Yuhua town, the formation would be activated, forming a maze-like place within a 100-mile radius of Yuhua town to delay the enemy. This way, Ling Xiao would be able to know in time and come back to help. No matter what, he had offended Mo Feiyu, so he had to be careful. If that guy didn't even care about his father's life for revenge, he would definitely come to destroy Yuhua town. This was also a precaution. After doing all this, Ling Xiao and Lin Yang embarked on the journey back to 8 Immortal Mountain. Of course, they rode the Imperial Wind Eagle back. Although the Imperial Wind Eagle belonged to the Xin family, Ling Xiao had no problem taming such a small bird. The Imperial Wind Eagle didn't enter the 8 Immortal County. Instead, it went directly to the foot of 8 Immortal Mountain. Ling Xiao used the teleportation formation that he set up previously to return to the foot of Black Immortal Mountain. Then he parted ways with Lin Yang and returned to their own mountains. When Ling Xiao returned to Black Immortal Mountain, Feng Ru was already burning with anxiety. Ling Xiao, how dare you come back? Why wouldn't I dare to come back? Ling Xiao asked in return. Feng Ru sighed and said, what you did in Beifeng town has already been reported back by spies. The entire sect knows about it. You actually destroyed the Mo family. Not to mention what the sect will do to you. Even Mo Feiyu won't let you go. Looking at Feng Ru's anxious look, Ling Xiao laughed instead. It was really good to have such a sister who cared about him and worried about him. You're still laughing? Feng Ru stomped her feet. She was about to die from anxiety. All these years, it wasn't easy to have a junior brother that she could talk to. She didn't expect him to die so soon. How could she not be anxious? Senior sister, actually you don't have to worry. It's true that I destroyed the Mo family, but didn't the spy say why I did that? Ling Xiao asked. No, the spy only said that the Mo family was destroyed by you. He didn't mention anything else. Feng Ru shook her head and said, then he really deserves to die. I'm afraid this person is also a spy of the Devil's Shadow sect. Ling Xiao was very sure that this so-called spy had probably been tamed by the Devil's Shadow sect. What Devil's Shadow sect? What spy? Chapter 2212. Feng Ru had no idea what the Devil's Shadow sect was. Ling Xiao was about to answer her when suddenly a strong murderous aura came from outside the mountain. Haha, Mo Feiyu is really fast. This guy really doesn't care about the 8 Immortal Mountain. Ling Xiao smiled and looked indifferent, but to be honest, he was still quite nervous. Although he had a hostage in his hands and believed that Mo Feiyu could not do anything to him, he would not dare to do anything to him. But Mo Feiyu's crazy personality was not easy to predict. Just as Ling Xiao was hesitating whether to hide first, another aura also arrived. It was Lin Ruoxian. With Lin Ruoxian around, Mo Feiyu should not be able to do anything. Besides Mo Feiyu and Lin Ruoxian, there was a third aura. If he guessed correctly, it should be the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master. He had never seen this Mountain Master ever since he joined the 8 Immortal Mountain, but he was sure that his cultivation was definitely stronger than Mo Feiyu and Lin Ruoxian, because according to the 8 Immortal Mountain's rules, to become the Mountain Master, one must first be a disciple of the upper 8 Immortals. Greetings, Mountain Master. Sure enough, when she saw the third person, Feng Ru hurriedly bowed. Greetings, Mountain Master. Ling Xiao also bowed. After all, he had joined the Black Immortal Mountain and would be working under someone else in the future. This was the basic etiquette. The Mountain Master of the Black Immortal Mountain did not look old. He was probably in his 30s. He was dressed in black and always wore a black mask. Only his black eyes could be seen. He had a mysterious aura that made people not dare to underestimate him. Ling Xiao, you destroyed my Mo family. I'll make you pay with your blood. When Mo Feiyu saw Ling Xiao, his eyes were scarlet red and he attacked in anger. Today, the three of them came together under the orders of the sect. Their main purpose was to investigate what happened in Beifeng town. Why did Ling Xiao destroy the entire Mo clan? However, Mo Feiyu did not care about the investigation. He knew very well that it was Ling Xiao who destroyed the Mo family. He only needed to kill Ling Xiao. However, the moment he made a move, he was stopped by Lin Ruoxian. Mo Feiyu, I know how you feel about your Mo clan being destroyed. But if you want to kill him, you have to clarify things first before making a decision. I won't agree to such a muddle-headed decision. The reason why Lin Ruoxian helped Ling Xiao so much was because of Lin Yang. In fact, after Lin Yang parted ways with Ling Xiao, he went to look for Lin Ruoxian and briefly explain the situation. That was why Lin Ruoxian volunteered to join the investigation. She and Mo Feiyu were both geniuses at the same level, and the sect was a little lenient towards them. Therefore, the sect would naturally agree to her request. Ling Xiao, tell me, did you kill my entire Mo clan? Mo Feiyu asked fiercely. If you're a man, you have to admit what you've done. Ling Xiao chuckled softly. Your Mo family was indeed destroyed by me. However, it's not necessarily true that your entire Mo family is dead. What do you mean? Mo Feiyu was stunned. Although he was crazy, he was not stupid. Ling Xiao was obviously implying something. Senior brother Mo should know very well what I mean. There's no need to explain. Ling Xiao smiled, then looked at Lin Ruoxian and the Black Fairy Mountain's mountain master. It's good that you're all here. This time I went out to carry out a mission and discovered something incredible. I was just about to report it to the sect. What is it? The Black Fairy Mountain's mountain master and Lin Ruoxian asked almost simultaneously. Mo Feiyu was still thinking about the meaning behind Ling Xiao's words. I went to North Peak Town to carry out a mission to exterminate the remaining bandits of the Bloody Cave Stronghold. Unexpectedly, I discovered that the Bloody Cave Stronghold was only a small force under the Demon Shadow Sect. The entire Mo clan had been absorbed by the Demon Shadow Sect. The most terrifying thing was that even senior brother Shin Chong had joined the Demon Shadow Sect after meeting Mo Yuan. He even tried to kill me and Lin Yang. However, we were lucky and benefited from the disaster. We had a breakthrough in our cultivation and killed him instead. Not only did we exterminate the pests of the Demon Shadow Sect, but we also killed the traitor Shin Chong. Slandering. There's no evidence. You can say whatever you want now. And what kind of force is the Demon Shadow Sect? Why have we never heard of it? Before Ling Xiao could finish, Mo Feiyu roared. He felt that Ling Xiao was smearing the faces of his dead Mo clan members. I know about the Demon Shadow Sect. The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Lord sighed and said, it was originally just a scab. I didn't expect it to spread to the 8 Immortals County. The higher-ups have all heard of the Demon Shadow Sect, but they didn't mention it because they didn't want the disciples to be in chaos. This sect's goal is to bewitch martial artists. They've done many outrageous things in other places. They've long been blacklisted by the Chen country sections. There really is an organization like the Demon Shadow Sect. Lin Ruoxian was stunned. As a disciple of the 8 Immortals, he didn't know about it. It seemed that the 8 Immortals Mountain didn't pay much attention to the Demon Shadow Sect. Even if there is such a sect, where's the evidence? Mo Feiyu was still fixated on evidence. Ling Xiao sighed and said, this is such a big matter. Ling Xiao wouldn't dare to speak carelessly. Of course there's evidence. And there's more than one. First, this is a piece of memory metal. This piece of memory metal faithfully recorded everything I encountered in North Peak Town. Although he said this, he knew very well that the contents of this piece of memory metal had been deleted. The information about his breakthrough in cultivation and the method to break through the Chaos Diamond Array were all kept secret. There was no way to tamper with it. It could only be deleted. The reason why memory metal was considered the most faithful evidence to restore the truth was because it couldn't be tampered with. It could only be deleted, not tampered with. However, The content that he deleted was unimportant and would not affect the truth of the matter. The memory metal released a golden energy and began to play images and sounds in the sky. After seeing this, Mo Feiyu fell silent. He was even a little shocked. It seemed that he didn't know anything about the Mo family joining the Demon Shadow sect. This time, he had been tricked by the Mo family. Ling Xiao, you've done very well. With this, not only are you not guilty, but you've also made a great contribution. I think you've successfully completed the mission of this entrance examination, Lin Ruoxian said with a smile. In his opinion, those people from the Mo family deserve to die. Although Ling Xiao was a little cruel, no one would be merciful after being schemed against like that. Moreover, the Mo family had actually raised martial artists like pigs. This kind of behavior was completely against martial ethics and could not be tolerated in the entire mystic world. Chapter 2213. Mo Feiyu stood there and did not speak for a long time. He was not thinking about how to kill Ling Xiao to avenge his family, but how to clear his ties with his family. The 8 Immortal Mountain could tolerate his mistakes, but they could not tolerate his betrayal, even if he was a genius. What about the other evidence you mentioned? The Black Immortal Mountain Master asked. It's Shen Chong's corpse. The Devil Shadow sect's martial artists will produce demonic seeds during their cultivation. Although Shen Chong has not been in the Devil Shadow sect for long, he should have a demonic seed as well. However, the possibility is not high. You will know once you investigate. Ling Xiao took out Shen Chong's corpse from the beast ring and handed it to the Black Immortal Mountain Master. All right, Ling Xiao, you can rest assured about this. The sect will not let a traitor go, but they will not be willing to let a good person go either. Mo Feiyu, don't you have something to explain to the sect? Lin Ruoxian comforted Ling Xiao and then looked at Mo Feiyu. I will explain clearly. Mo Feiyu snorted, glanced at Ling Xiao, and then flew away. Obviously, he would not let Ling Xiao go so easily. However, before dealing with Ling Xiao, he had to solve his own problems first. Lin Ruoxian also prepared to leave with Ling Xiao's evidence. However, he was stopped by Ling Xiao. Lord Deacon, here is a letter that I found on Mo Lauer's body. I am not sure if it is true, but I hope the sect can take it seriously. Ling Xiao was afraid that he would not be able to do the vampiric sacrifice alone, so he needed the help of the 8 Immortal Mountain's higher-ups. As long as the higher-ups of the 8 Immortal Mountain were willing to help, the 8 Immortal City would not be infiltrated by the Devil Shadow sect so quickly. It would be of some help. This information is too important. Ling Xiao, you did well. Keep up the good work in the future. Lin Ruoxian smiled and left. Feng Ru, take good care of Ling Xiao. I need to make a statement to the higher-ups about this matter, so I'll take my leave first. The Black Immortal Mountain's mountain lord warned Feng Ru before leaving as well. This mountain chieftain had always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Who knew when the next time they would meet would be? Not long after the 3 of them left, Ling Xiao's identity card lit up, and he automatically received some information in his mind. This information told him that he had passed the entrance assessment mission and received a reward of 100 contribution points from the sect. 100 contribution points. How can there be so many points? Logically speaking, even if you complete the entrance examination, getting 50 points is already a record. But you actually got 100 points. Feng Ru, who was standing at the side, exclaimed when she saw the contribution points displayed on the identity card. Ling Xiao was also a little surprised. However, thinking about it carefully, he had discovered the Shadow Devil Sect's scheme and destroyed the Shadow Devil Sect's lair in North Peak Town. It was normal for him to receive these contribution points. Thinking about it, it wasn't that strange. That's right, Senior Sister Feng, where's Chun-Hee? Wasn't he also on a mission? Why isn't he back yet? His matter had come to an end for the time being. Ling Xiao began to care about his underling, Chun-Hee. He didn't expect Feng Ru's expression to suddenly turn ugly at the mention of Chen He. Something happened to Chen He? Ling Xiao frowned and asked. Yes. Feng Ru nodded and said, What's going on? With Chen He's cultivation, it shouldn't be possible for something to happen to him when he's just on an assessment mission, right? Ling Xiao guessed that there must be something wrong. It's better that you don't know. You've already offended Mo Feiyu. Don't offend anyone else. Feng Ru opened her mouth, but didn't say anything in the end. If you don't want to tell me, then I'll investigate it myself. Anyway, I'll find out eventually. Although Chen, he and I haven't known each other for long, he called me boss. I can't let him die without knowing why. Ling Xiao said coldly, He's not necessarily dead. Feng Ru shook her head and said, Forget it. I don't want you to get into trouble again. I'll tell you, other than Zhou Tong from the Black Immortal Mountain, Sha Hai from the Scarlet Immortal Mountain was also on the mission with Qin He. I heard from senior brother Zhou Tong that Sha Hai and Qin He had a disagreement during the mission. In the end, the two of them fought, and Qin He was knocked off the cliff by Sha Hai. I don't know if he's dead. However, senior brother Zhou Tong didn't find Qin He's body and came back to report. Sha Hai from the Scarlet Immortal Mountain? Who is this Sha Hai? He's even stronger than Chen He? Ling Xiao frowned and asked. Previously, I only told you about the situation at the lower 8 Immortal Mountain. I didn't tell you about the upper 8 Immortal Mountain. The 3 major clans of the 8 Immortal County control the lower 8 Immortal Mountain. The disciples of the lower 8 Immortal Mountain can only reach the peak of the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. The upper 8 Immortal Mountain is much more powerful. The 8 mountains represent the 8 ancient clans. They all have powerful martial souls passed down from their clans. They are the true masters of the 8 Immortal County. Even the imperial court of the Qin nation can't do anything to them. This Sha Hai is related to the Sha clan of the upper 8 Immortal Mountain. The noble blood of the Sha clan flows in his body. He also has the Sha clan's martial soul. That's why he was assigned to the strongest of the lower 8 Immortal Mountains, the Scarlet Immortal Mountain, to cultivate. Moreover, this Sha Hai is a reincarnation realm martial artist like you. I see. I don't care if he's Sha Hai or a Sha dog. However, since he killed my little brother, I'll make him pay with his blood. Ling Xiao revealed a sinister smile. I advise you not to think about it. Feng Ru shook her head and said, Sha Hai is different from Mo Feiyu. Although Mo Feiyu is a disciple of the upper 8 immortals, he's just an outsider. Although Sha Hai is a disciple of the lower 8 immortals, he's a noble of the 8 Immortal Mountain. To put it bluntly, outsiders like us are actually working for the 8 ancient clans. We're their servants, and hired thugs. Have you ever seen a servant of a clan who beats up their master? Therefore, there won't be any problem for Sha Hai to kill Qin He because he's the master. However, if you hurt Sha Hai, you'll be committing treason. What kind of *T argument is that? They're just a clan behind the scenes of the 8 Immortal Mountain. They really think they're something. I've seen clans that are older than them, but they didn't dare to be so arrogant. Ling Xiao said disdainfully, Humph, you're really boasting shamelessly. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. This voice was actually from Feng Yu. The last time he drugged this guy's wine, did it not take effect? No, it had been a few days. It was impossible for it not to take effect. It seemed like it had been cured by someone else. However, it didn't matter. He wasn't afraid of Feng Yu at all. With his current cultivation, it would be easy for him to kill Feng Yu. Are you surprised that I'm still alive and kicking? Why wasn't he killed by your poison? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.